It's hot in here. Hi, my name is Chris. I'm Vangelus on the internet, and today, I am hosting the stream. Me! I'm the host today. So hello, welcome, and specifically hello to out in Vodland, because you're busy right now, Simeon Scott, as well as V-Rider, Tonbot, Long was here, Dynamo Dave, Mischievous Turtle, and Chris Muse. Hello. I appear to be working. That's good. We love it when it works. We love it when it works! Ugh! It's very hot, and I went for a walk today. Not as long as I intended. I used the transit to leave my home and return home. But in between, I went for a decent-sized walk and then was like, well, that's enough of that. Time to get back on the train. 'Cause it was hot. And humid. It's been hot and humid. So I'm just very... I've got my, I got my thingamy running. I got it on a timer. That's to make me switch it from AC or dehumidify over to fan for a bit to try to preserve the coils. Hello Ethan, hello Lee, hello Joel. Heat index over 100 if I don't know. I use real temperature measurements. hang on. How many seconds? I can't say the word yet. Oh no, they changed that. I just don't do that. I'm very happy, by the way, for everyone out there in YouTube creator land who was able to open their videos by swearing again. I know that it's been a long drought, and you know, my classic opening obviously had to change so many times. I don't even know how to do it anymore. The body perspirate. Yeah, I sweat when I go outside for more than 10 minutes. So I figured doing any kind of walking, aces. But yeah, they gave us heat warnings. I waited till, like, I didn't go out till the afternoon, and then as it got, like, closer to 7 p.m., it was obviously a little bit more bearable. I didn't hate it, because I was using it to try to turn into some, like, minor, exercise. So I guess it was helping in that sense, but also, yowdy howdy, it hits you like a train. And also, I'm a sweat boy. I'm a dripper. So I've taken to just carrying, like, roughly 38 C. Yeah, we were like 7 degrees below that. We had also, what was it, a bunch of, like, you know that warm rain that just feels like someone's licking you? We had some of that yesterday. But yeah, I'm a sweater here and I'm a sweater here, so I just carry folded up paper towels with me in my pocket, and I do a little bit of the old, like, woohoo dab, like when I'm standing around. No, pee is warmer than that. Like, pee is like, at least pee is like, you know, borderline hot. But no, this is like if someone, like, you know, spat in their hand and then started dribbling it on you, like that kind of warmth. Like, it just doesn't feel great. You're a dripper. That's right. We got any drippers in the chat? Handkerchief you don't have to wash. Correct, Joel. I just use it until, like, it just stops. It never stops being wet, and then I throw it out and unleash the next one. But I'm trying to also just, like, get more. Don't spit on me and tell me I'm dripping. That's what I say every day of my life. I'm trying to get more accustomed, at least, to, like, sweat running down the back of my neck. The problem with it running down my face is twofold. Okay, number one, I've tried to just ignore it, and then it collects on my eyelids, and then waits, and then when there's a sufficient enough glob to be like a perfectly sized eye drop, it just, like, hook climbs underneath the eyelid and goes right into my eye, and then I'm just out of it for like 5 minutes. I'm just like, ah! And, you know, like friggin' the Kids in the Hall sketch. You're sitting there just trying to have a business presentation, and suddenly in the very back of the room you just hear, like, and then I'm, like, running around like this, and because it's sweat, if I try to, like, shake my head or just, like, open my eyes, it doesn't help because it's salt goop, so it's just, no matter what happens, it's pain. So that's number one. Number two, which makes me more aggro, is it'll collect, and then the big drip will happen off of here, and whatever I'm doing, it will always drip and land on whatever it is I'm doing, be it looking at a book, looking at my phone, messing with a figure, trying to work a camera, anything. It'll always drip right into what I'm doing, which usually isn't very happy to deal with applications of moisture, which I also just find irritating, so I'm always, like, trying to, like, dab dry up here all the time. What's up, Graham? Streaming during multiple VTubers 3D debuts and Ichiro's #1 retirement ceremony. That's what I'm here for, is to talk about sweating. Strangely enough, it stays away from my crotch, because it will always hit a lapel, or this is the worst one, and I guess this is actually not it's just the visual chaos irritates me. It'll hit, and then hydrophobically bounce, and then these bullets will run down the front of my shirt. And it, like, out of the corner of my eye, looks just enough like stuff crawling down me. So I'm like, ah! And then, you know? Got swamp ass. Yeah, for whatever reason, it doesn't make it to my ass. That's a weird way to put it. But it'll like, it tends to build if I have a collared shirt on the back collar. What's up, Alexis Silver? if we're doing EU VTubers, that's me, because I'm the original VTuber. But then again, I'm very sweaty today. The Humid Did Titties. Yeah, that's like my cover band. It's Gutsman. I'm just... blah, you know? I'm just blah. Yeah, it's a day. And also, I've had this for 2 weeks, and I want to open it. What is it? You can't tell, because this thing, I forgot what this filter is, but it will always protect my intellectual property. So whatever this is, I've had for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna open it now. Is it hot in Toronto today? It was so pleasant in Alberta. Yeah, it was hot. Also, there was Carnival. I'm just going to talk about my day for a sec. It was Carnival, apparently, at Dundas Square. And there was some big event in Chinatown as well. I kind of circumvented most of it because nothing was really, like, grabbing me. But I did finally check out the new Iraqi street food place that opened next to the EB Games by the Eaton Center. And it was pretty good. They had seating, but they also had a grab-and-go menu, which doesn't mean it was pre-made. It's just like, that's where they put 2 wraps, where it's like, if you just want a wrap, they still make it fresh, but you can just wait in front. So I got a grab-and-go chicken shawarma, because it involved some kind of pomegranate sauce. It was hella good. It was like $9 Canadian, which for food nowadays that is made for you is not all that awful. Especially because this was like a pretty decent, I thought it was a pretty decent, like, meal. Like, you know, midday meal, you have that, you're good to go for a little while. Yeah, I was quite happy with it. That place, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Actually, I can look it up. But they opened up one day when I was heading to the EB Games, and they had free samples out to say, like, hi, we're open. And I was like, it's like a, you know, when they do, like, the flatbed rolls filled with stuff and then they cut it? It was like one of those little segments. And it was really tasty. Alforat, A-L-F-O-R-A-T, Alforat in Toronto. And I wanted to go back there to try something full on, because I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. And I'm always happy to have, you know, more non-American chains hanging around downtown. So give them a try, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Crossbones Koopa, my friend gave me a legacy tar, and I like him. Hell yeah, good friend. Good friend. Spent $100 for my Snap today. I saw you mention that in another Discord. I forgot what Snap is because I'm not American, but I can connect the dots. I have done that before, where I'm like, I gotta wait until the day for my big grocery spendy. Food. Okay, yeah, we got something similar over here, I think. But yeah, I've had I'm waiting for the deadline when I can do my grocery spendy, and it's a good feeling when I get to do that. I'm also lucky in that, like, I have discovered walkable places around me where I can, like, assemble a pretty decent, like, I guess I'll say menu. It makes it sound better than it is, but, like, you know, I can assemble the parts for a multi-day stir fry pretty decently when I have my resources ready. Self-birthday shopping. Ayo! That reminds me. That reminds me. Yo, look, it's the code. Van Jubilee is the code to feed the machine this month. It's Van Jubilee because this month is the birthday month. Last birthday month was very waylaid with extremely emotionally distressing stuff. So I simply extended my birthday out another 13 months. Mentally. So that's what we're doing this month, is being born. And because it will come up somewhere, I posted on Blue Sky an Amazon wish list link. Obviously, there's no impetus to participate. You can also use the code. You can also do the support. You can also make a clip of something and share it. I love looking at clips people make. So, you know, that's what's up. What's also up is that we are gonna shred box. We're also gonna shred some booster. That's something I was out doing today, but that will come later. I want to do the robots first. Cassie, hello, Chris. I have just edited you saying piss in MRC's video. Thank you very much, Cassie. Frankly, I was like, you know, is it happening? Like, is someone gonna edit me saying piss into a video sometime soon? Or, like, am I gonna have to, like, find a new character to portray? Oh, the boosters also robots? No, the boosters are actually shockingly far away from robots. I would love to find the Gundam card game. How many people clipped recreational assaulting from your last stream? I don't know. I haven't checked in a couple days. I didn't see any yet, so you could be the first. Excellent work, guys. Yes, thank you. I don't remember what the context would be, but I can only believe it would be, like, for the betterment of all of us. Yeah. I went out on an adventure with a friend several Mondays ago and saw this at an EB Games and was like, should I? Because I can get my discount. I don't know if I really should be buying a Voyager right now. And, you know, was basically told, like, treat yourself. Also, it's a good one. So I was like, you're right. It is a good one. Can you add the Super Prime armor on Skybot? I don't know. Also, today at EB Games, I saw Alchemist Prime, so it was neat to see something else vaguely new at an EB Games. The Dufferin Walmart is just a hole right now, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know when next I will ever get a new toy. It could be tomorrow, could be 5 years. It'll be shorter than 5 years from now. But it's pretty barren in my usual spots. I think Hasbro can do the other members of the DJD. I'm sure that they would like to. I think that someone had asked them whether there was like a gift set way to do it, and there was some kind of like chitter-chatter that like maybe a HasLab gift set could circumvent the entities involved who might say, why is one of these an electric chair? Why is one of these a meat grinder? Here it comes. Here comes the toy hole is everywhere. I'm going to put a toy hole right in the front of this box. Oh, thank you, V-Rider. Yeah, Evan said a HasLab might be a way to get around the alt modes. Yeah. CMD Store, the thing with CMD Store is they don't give me a 10% off Platinum discount. And especially, because I'm getting hungry for that Megatron, and I'm still hungry for Megatronus, and Leader Class, that 10% discount is nearly $10, and that's juicy. Also, CMD Store, I assume, would charge me shipping, which is, again, I like to try to nickel and dime my hobbying down, because when I go to an EB Games, you know, they still charge $50 for Voyagers, but then I get 10% off that, which is almost enough to make the taxes go away. What's up, Connor McClure? Made in time with some Culvers. I've heard that word before. Oh, we're talking about all the holes now. We got the toy hole. You know, okay, we got the hole, then the toy hole, then the boy hole, then the femboy hole, then the juicy toy hole. Alex Silver, that face one dropped down to gold. No! You were Onyx? Oh, no! I'm always I don't spend enough to go above platinum. If I was, like, buying every Titan, I might be, and every Commander on pre-order, or maybe I could hit Onyx, or Gold, I guess. But yeah, I'm always, I feel bad if you lost Onyx, though. Like, that's the one unless you meant, like, you lost Gold, I might have misunderstood. But, I'm always just, like, clinging on to my Platinum. At least, it seems that the system is staying, because, this is for all the Canadians. Remember that, the Nebula year or two, where it's like, well, as long as yours doesn't dip below the level, because we can't give out new ones, we have no way in our system, but as long as you just keep yours, maybe you're fine. What is Culver's? Because I don't know what Culver's is. Also, I should report, last time when I physically assaulted the toy packages last stream a week ago, I actually did have a couple cuts on my hand. I didn't notice right away. So, that just means that ideally this time, I've now built up as they do in various martial arts, the physical emboldenment to no longer bleed. So let's see if we can do. I see. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Much like Shin from Hokuto no Ken, I see the constellation and I can say, like, all you have to do is give up, Kenshiro. All you have to do is give up, Kenshiro. Yuria will be mine, Kenshiro. Yuria doesn't reply to my DMs, and frankly, I think it's embarrassing for her. Oh, we got one on the top here too. Dang. Whoop. Yeah. Let's see. How do we get in here? I think I figured out how I got some nicks and little cuts on my hand. By the way, it's this plastic window. It's traitorous. But we still did it. We still made our way in. Freshly discovered uncut footage of the Hokuto no Ken film without the bleeding. Ow. 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 Ah. You'll get nicked by the plastic and become the plastic. Yeah, it's 28 days later, and I'm about to get the rage! Alan Weaver, you know, if you opened it without putting your hand through jagged plastic, you wouldn't get cuts. Well, maybe, but if fur traders didn't say, I wonder what's on the other side of the boat, then we might not have the now defunct Hudson's Bay Company. Think about it. 28 minutes later. Eh. Right, let's see. Yeah, right, yeah, exactly. The rest of you all should try reading a book. What's up, Army of Bees? We're just talking about, listen, y'all know I'm real cool with the dark woke, which is my way of saying I almost just said we're talking about, and then almost said the name of a terrible, terrible movie, which is not related to Canada, to my knowledge. Hello, Griff. Hello, Sideswipe Prime. His fins do come on sprues, yes. We're gonna have to get a little bit pla with this piece. Opinions on Souther Hokuto no Ken. So I've actually never watched anything with Souther. I've only read synopses. I've only really read and watched stuff that goes up to, like, Shin dying. I know more happens, and I know bits and pieces of what happened, but I'm very Shin core. Speaking of bad movie, wait, what's the bad movie we're oh, right, yeah, never mind. No, that is, yeah. Never mind, no, I almost, yeah, no, that's a good transition. Hi there, Verspringen, what's going on? What's going on? I'm very shin-pilled, yes. Making this... I'm just realizing there's a sprue that has been twist-tied onto the package, but the stuff on the sprue that I want has not been. So can I not just... yeah. Lazy. I see where these twist ties could have gone through the part in question. But it seems somebody was asleep at the wheel or maybe trying to clock out early and only had those things go onto the highly disposable and forgettable sprue that the fins come on. You gotta get up pretty early in the morning to outwit old G2 Pat Lee. No god hand or sandpaper? Yeah, big brain moment. Alright, well, where's the assembly instructions for this Plamo kit? Oh, because there's a bunch of stuff we have to put together now. Kotobukiya eats your heart out, am I right? Yeah. This vessel is so weak. Yeah. Those are the 3 strips you can ignore. Always awake at the wheel. I haven't slept in 47 years. Yeah, that is one way to live. Plastic sickness is... No, listen, if anything, the plastic sickness becoming one and the same. All I'm gonna say, there's a better and clearer angle that those 2 pieces of CAD model could have been placed at to communicate what I am supposed to do with them. It's all I'm gonna say. Paper cut bleeding might be TOS, so I want to make it stop. I'm so dark woke that they banned me on YouTube because I got a paper cut live on stream. Hello, Brian. Sorry, I was taught the phrase dark woke at a TFCon and forgot about it. Then a friend of mine reminded me of the phrase dark woke again, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that's me. Hey, you red blood cells, stop running from that man. That's right. What do you... when I look at my blood and go like, what are your crimes? So I do see why these came separate in the package. That's pretty wide. These have a curve or they're identical? They're identical. Okay. I thought that said Gonad the Barbarian, and I think that might have been the name of an RPG character at one point. Oh, I see how that happened. I just read up. I see how that happened. Okay. Because I just read that as Gonad the Barbarian. I was like, yep, I guess that's what we're saying. No, listen, you don't have to Urban Dictionary the dark woke. It's just like, you know, that's me. Alright, so I can put this into his hand, obviously. Ah! Obviously, I can put this into his hand. Gonad is my favorite boy detective J-Ref. All these J ampersand ref detectives stealing our union jobs. Alright, I want to stick this into the storage spot, though. Dang, that peg is tight. Dang, that peg is tight. where's the blasted storage spot then? Whoa! What was that? Oh, I see. I think. That is deep up in there for me to be doing with limited visibility. All right. He does have a really pleasant in-hand, like, you know, the basic body grip. Nothing feels like it is held together in a way where it's going to come apart while I'm posing him. I did notice I was having... Oh, not on this side. Okay, just on this side. Yeah, I was having this part detach before the shoulder joint moves. But if I just apply my pressures like this, then it's fine. There's the shark storage. The gun storage is like that, so his gun can extend from his upper jaw in shark mode. Okay. Crossbones Scoop, is it just me or does the plastic on Age of the Primes feel better? I have Red Alert and Soulless Prime. Plastic feels yeah, Red Alert felt very much like Nitro Convoy, because it's a better name. Override or Overdrive? Override, right? You know who I mean. The Speedio one. Because her plastic was like... The legs are these big, thick hunks of like 06 style plastic. And there was something to that, and I kind of... Override. Yeah. There was something to that. And I felt similar on Armada Red Alert especially, because he's just... I think it's just big hunks of plastic. We're going to regular fan mode. Yahoo! But no, I'm like on Age of the Prime so far. Like when I opened up Soulless Prime on the last stream, I know people have had issues here and there. I had like the little rotating thing on the shoulders pop off because I didn't know what it was supposed to do. But otherwise, nothing has popped off. And now that I know how the rotating thing moves, I haven't had it come off again. So I also think maybe we just got good ones here in Canada. Overtide. She's made of detergent. I am too. Big honks! But yeah, this dude is pretty... Oh, I just realized I can do this. It is neat to have, like, an Skybite, who... I don't know how to put it, really, but, like... You know, this is not a fully accurate statement, I guess. I'm shooting from the hip here. It feels like a whole robot in robot mode, as opposed to... parts of a shark in the shape of a robot. How's his panels? Yeah, there's no panels on his legs. There's a double peg tabby locker on his backpack on the inside. So this part's, you know, flapping a bit, but like who doesn't have one of these on their ass, right? Like we all deal with this every single day. We're trying to go on the subway and your ass face is like, hey, you want to sell me some goddamn toilet paper, baby? I got a gun in my jaw. And, like, we deal with that every day of our lives. It's just part of being an adult in the 2020s. College, yeah. I've still never handled a Tide Pod. I never held one in my hands. I was too afraid. I have seen, obviously, having not been too shy about looking at coverage of this one because so many people were raving about it, and I didn't know when I'd get it. I've seen the cool joint on the shark mode. So I'm guessing I can just leave that in there, then, when I'm transforming him. My ass doesn't have one of those. Who took mine? Well, you know... Well, actually, You know, a lot of people tend to lose their first ass face flap before they, you know, grow up a little bit and realize they should be taking better care of it. Ooh. Ooh. Sorry, I just noticed we got... This dude can articulate and wield things. Yeah. You know, for when you go skeleton shopping, like, Skybike can just go skeleton shopping like a normal person. Pinchy, pinchy. That's actually pretty sassy, all things considered, because you got this little... Oh, just a tiny... Come on. A little bit more... Oh, if there's just a bit more tilt on that, you still got some nod. It's August. I mean, yeah, hey, listen, you got to get ready for... What's that thing people say? What's the thing, the challenge people try to avoid during Christmas time? The name of the band, it's like the whatever, the NORAD challenge people do, where they're like, I don't want to hear those songs. You know, last Christmas, whatever. The Wham challenge. Yeah, it always sounds so much cooler than it actually is. Oh, sorry, yeah, thank you. The Gonad challenge in the States. Yeah, Scorp, the head fin is kind of enormous. I like it. Size comparison with a Hellboy the board game miniature, as we all have. Yeah, Whamageddon. Whenever I see Whamageddon, I spent years not knowing what that meant. I just thought people were like... I don't know, I thought it was like something that just comes from working at Target or something. And then one day I was like, I'm going to see what Whamageddon is, and I was disappointed. I thought it was going to be cooler. Next to your average dropper bottle of miniatures paint. But yeah, the Whamageddon challenge, which I've ruined for people by accident, is to try to not hear Wham songs. And, like, one of those Wham songs is an earworm for me, because it's got certain tones that are kind of like, you know, two steps away from tragedy or epic, like, drama. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of hits, though, when I hear it. Because I also don't work in retail, so I don't hear it for 8 hours a day or 7 days a week. Is Whamageddon specifically just Last Christmas? Because, like, because, like, Last Christmas is an apocalyptic song. Like, there's something about it that, like, I don't know. Someone should do... I know I'm the person who's invented this entire genre, but, like, somebody should try doing a metal cover of Last Christmas, because nobody's ever thought of that in their entire life. Because when they're like, Last Christmas I gave you my heart, blah, 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 I'm just imagining, like, you know, someone who just, like, pulled their own heart out. It's just like, please take it! And, like, you know, no one's taking it. I thought that was the pretty obvious message of that song. Oh, hello. Is his head fin gonna be the actual... Well... one of the lyrics is to save you from fear or something. That sounds right. Yeah, it's a. I don't know. There's something. That song is fixable. But also, you hear anything 400 times a day, and it's no longer fixable for you. And you know, I'm not going to even try to press the advantage on that one. What did you think his head fin was going to do? I don't know. They could do lots of things. I am here. Yes, hello, gang. Hello, Shane DePayne. I can fix Wham! Press the advantage is banned, though. Well, at least house format. If I'm fixing Wham, we're into house rules territory, right? Yeah. Eh. I don't know why that reminds me, but my recent karaoke by myself jam in the last little while has been Garbage's James Bond song, "The World Is Not Enough." So that one's also got some oomph to it. K-pop Demon Hunter is getting a limited sing-along theater release in the U.S. on August 23 and 24. Well, that is during Toronto Fan Expo in Ontario, Canada. Those tabs went in like friggin' solid as a friggin' refrigerator in a school bus. That felt real good. Solid as a freaking solid as a freaking freak, man. So like I'm sorry that I didn't realize I was with a bunch of friggin' squares who don't know. I mean, I know there's cool people here who got it when I said solid like a refrigerator in a school bus. I forgot we're we're dealing with some normies. I watched K-pop Demon Hunters earlier this week, and I was pretty much into it. It was my kind of ish. It felt weird. It was some highly produced fantasy action-y kids animation. There's a pocket for his fist in the other arm. Oh. That's a good feeling. My kind of... Is that an American word? How did the sliding panels feel on yours? Mine felt okay. Like, I noticed it was happening, and then... Like, the slide felt okay. The click out from the unlock was kind of like... Ugh. So I see what y'all mean. I see what y'all mean. Isn't a pocket just a fist pocket? Like, even small pockets on your shirt, you could put your fist in. I mean, you could try. But, like, I think it's more happenstance, because I put lots of things that aren't my fists into pockets, but, like, that is a pocket just for a fist. The other slide panels, the ones with the shark fins. Really? Oh, like they're telescoping. I guess I'll find out in a sec. For whatever reason, the new Naked Gun sequel made me go like rewatch some Get Smart. Because I spent like a solid neuron second going like, were those the same people? And they were not, at all. Get Smart was Mel Brooks. In fact, Ron Friedman wrote on Get Smart. But Get Smart was always more my vibe. Bearded Stranger, thank you for the super chat. Hello, Chris Vangelus. Please give your opinions on the Walmart Retro G1 Bumblebee. I've given you money, so you must agree with me that it's bad and disappointing. I'm being sarcastic. That's the one based on Studio Series 86 Bumblebee? Or was that one based on the Netflix? I can't remember. I don't have it. It's the Netflix mold, no toy head. Right. How many Bumblebees do we get? Anyway, yeah, I think I saw it, but I didn't want to pick it up because, like, my Earthrise Lil Guys molds are Bug Bite and Hubcap. And I had just gotten SS86 Bumblebee, and I like that toy a lot. So I wasn't really that interested. I was looking for Sea Spray because friggin' a couple friends of mine have found Sea Spray at Canadian Walmarts. No luck here yet. Dufferin Walmart's still a hole. A toy hole. Hello, Richard Reyes. Hello, Zimman. What was I talking about, though? Yeah, Get Smart. I dug that show. That show has, what was it? That show touches on a parody version of the Charlie Chan detective type character for an episode or two. So you gotta go in kind of like, all right, this 1960 show is gonna do a little bit of the old wax eyeballs stuff. Something about it, though, didn't bug me that much. I think it's because, like, it was in and of itself kind of like having a go at that genre. But also, it was partly that the writing was, like, so... I don't know, something about a good Mel Brooks writing that is, like, so, like, Looney Tunes. Yeah, wax eyeballs, is so that the eyeballs look more like what 1940s Americans think Asians look like. It's what is it, the one thing about Cloud Atlas I know. But yeah, there was a very popular serialized detective back in the day called Charlie Chan, who was famously played by, was it a British guy or an American guy? Theater Josh, Looney Tunes was Mel Blanc. No, yeah, no, I mean the what do you call it? The vibe of the comedy. I just got this part that those actually click, and that feels so good. So, like, speaking as an Asian person, I personally was fine with it because I felt the motivation from 1963 or whatever wasn't coming at a place that was, like, directly attacking me, but I would absolutely disclaimer that stuff. You're what? Hey, yeah, I know. It's true. Oh, this joint feels good. I saw this in videos, but, like, the ribs are for my pleasure. There's, like, a grind when you work it. Here, Josh, I was attempting to make a comedy. I did not. Or you circled around the sun and just caught me on my lie. Well, you caught me on my poor wording. Ribbed for my pleasure. My hand pleasure. That still sounds bad. Dang. And then this thing moves. Fin wags. Do they want the yellow things out all the time? No, they do want me to fold them up. Okay. Yeah, classically, like, in the mid-20th century, what a weird thing to say. Yellow face and red face were, like, super common. Like, there's, another name just farted out the anus of my memory. Oh, you know, I only do eyes. I only do eyes. Grandpa from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Oh my god. You know, when, like, this happens to me with Willem Dafoe constantly. I only just saw a clip of him recently, so he's back in my brain. James Hong, thank you. God damn it. It's the worst feeling when I'm sitting there going, like, James, and then, like, the other side just disappears. Anyway, I think James Hong has talked about that a lot, when, he was, like, finally getting some deeper recognition on the back of stuff like Everything Everywhere All at Once, in his performance therein. So it is just one of those, like, dark parts of the mid-20th century of entertainment, which I would never tell someone, like, you just gotta deal with it and watch it. It's just like, hey, you know, if you can deal with it, it's there, and then, like, if you can't deal with it, like, I don't blame you, because, like, it looks worse and worse with every passing year. Because I'm still from a generation where that kind of stuff would make it on TV all the time. Yeah, Mako's another great one. I like how it doesn't fit, but it does fit. That's a fun shark to play with. I do like how much this just disappears inside his mouth when you put it into storage position. Ikari Tagawa, that's his name, right? I always fear that I'm, like, forgetting a part of his last name. That guy's always, like, what is it, like, I would think of as, like, an unsung hero of direct-to-VHS, among other things, because, like, also, I mean, you know, James Hong as well, and Mako. There's a lot of, like, just stuff, that you can find a history of performance. I would call performance honing and training in ugly eras of the entertainment industry from a lot of, like, really talented folks. Ooh. Anyway, I don't know if they did it on the DVD releases, because those all happened in the 2000s, like, I think early 2000s, and it wasn't until, in my memory at least, so please tell me if you know better, stuff like, content warnings for Of the Era, I always remember those really starting with the Looney Tunes DVD box sets of the mid to late 2000s, but I would love a disclaimered, but otherwise fully present Get Smart, Blu-ray box. Zimman, speaking on Asian typecasting, I really do respect Henry Golding deliberately avoided action roles until he got big in order to avoid getting typecast as a martial arts guy. Interesting. Oh, okay, and Tom and Jerry. Okay, thank you. Censoring these depictions would be to pretend they never existed is one of the hardest lines WB's ever dropped. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like, we're in an era where, like, I will say I don't want to start the debate on this. So, like, keep it nice, because I want it to be nice in there. But I feel like there are popular YouTube performances that, to me, made me more uncomfortable. How do you put this? Because I was gonna say they aren't really necessarily yellow-faced performances, but, like, very it always feels to me like I'm gonna do Asian things primarily because a lot of white folks are laughing, kind of stuff. Which always leave me feeling very mixed message on it, because like I had an era like that in my own life a decade and a half ago. And something about that like makes me less comfortable than like old 50s 60s like the Get Smart thing, basically the Harry Who episodes, the Claw episodes. I think those are the same episodes, actually. 'Cause at least that I'm like, yeah, this is just like stupid white guy Hollywood from 60 years ago. It's academically very easy for me to, you know, draw the through line. I wouldn't tell someone like, you should do that in a Get Smart remake. It's like, no, you probably should not do that in a Get Smart remake. Like Mega Man, as a black man, that was pretty much half the people big on Vine. Yeah. I don't remember Vine as an environment very well. We're talking Ken Jeong in The Hangover type. I don't remember him in The Hangover. But yeah, like Graham had kind of hit it. Like the, how do you put this? Latter era Uncle Roger makes me incredibly uncomfortable. Early era Uncle Roger I thought was quite funny. And something about the, like, the post-peak Uncle Roger makes me increasingly uncomfortable. The main reason why I wanted to disclaimer that I don't want that to break out into a very big argument is because I know that it can be a very big, nuanced argument. No, Emotional Damage Guy is someone else. Similar, subgenre, I guess. More of this stuff is clicking in. But yeah, I don't like. It doesn't like bother me to the point of like I'm a go out into shivers. It's just like something about it as time went on, like started to like give me like a different flavor than the intended one. For the most part, I just leave it alone. Like, if people play the clip, it's fine. It's just, I think it's like if a friend of mine were to like put on an accent and try to do the line in my face, I might go like, okay, hey, listen. Because I dealt with that in an improv class once with a fella who, very talented, also a very nice guy, a very well-meaning guy. But his go-to was accents, and that led to a very interesting scenario in one of my classes. People were, sorry, I just noticed it has like an asymmetrical scarring on the bottom of the mouth. But people were having like specifically about his Chinese accent. They were having a big conversation, and I was the only Asian person in the room. And I was like kind of chilling out, going like, anyone want to ask me? So I let them all talk for like 5-10 minutes, and then when there was a long pause, I broke the uncomfortable silence by going like, I forgot what I said precisely, but I opened up with like, well, as like apparently the only Chinese-related person in the entire room, I'll give some perspective on this. And it really boiled down to like, you're doing this in a classroom environment with like maybe 20 people who are all here for the same reason. That is one thing. That's, you know most of us. I personally don't feel you are attacking me. However, if you drop this in like, an open stage performance at like a bar somewhere, like you are kind of inviting anyone to take it badly and hurl a chair at your head, and you'd kind of only really be able to get on them for escalating to hurling a chair. Chinese wasn't the only accent. He had quite a gamut of them. Which was one of the unfortunate things. He was actually pretty decent at doing all of his accents. It's just that, like, 2 or 3 of them, I don't know how to... The way I put this when it comes to doing an accent is, like, when you are losing your grip on it slightly and you want to reassert your grip, his reassertion phrases for a couple of them were very like, oh, okay. And they weren't like literally like, you know, screaming a slur or anything. It was just like a very particular and subtle thing where you'd be like, I know why that's your re-gripping phrase, but like, when you say it like 3 times in 5 minutes, it's like, yeah, the grounding phrases, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of like, also, and importantly, and this is the main thing that I tried to get across. I was like, every time he uses an accent, it is mostly to establish a new character, and it's never the. And to his credit, the accent was almost never the actual topic of the scene. But also it meant like, so that, you know, with that in mind, it's like you don't really need to do it because like you're perfectly solid at doing these scenes anyway, and so I can tell it's like how you are arriving. And I have a go-to British accent I always go to when I'm lost for anything else and I want to like shake up the character plot a little bit. So yeah, it was a good conversation to have. I'm going to turn this back into a robot to the lesser mode. But this is a really, I think, good shark mode, all things considered. Like, it's a good use of all the parts. Transformation has, like, really tactilely solid moments. Friggin' minor articulation on the friggin' shark mode. I think the closest I came to feeling worried about an accent was when I did that Rune review for the TF Nation exclusive, and I ran it by a friend of mine who is Welsh, admittedly, not like whatever the British accent homunculus I was doing was. But I was like, hey, could you just take a look at this? Because I finished it, and I'm just now thinking, did I cross a line? To which my friend, I believe, helpfully told me, I don't think you crossed a line. It just sounds like you're having a stroke. I was like, I mean, I'll take it. Secret leg mode. Yeah, okay, I see the secret leg mode. Actually, it does really look like a leg. Like, that's a boot. That's like, it looks like a Mega Man leg. Like, damn. That was this friend Matt? Yes, Theater Josh. It was Matt. I was like, better ask someone about this extremely poor man's Matt Berry. I'll ask Matt. Can you hear him saying it? True, though. What are they trying to tell us with this hidden leg mode? I don't know. Don't don't give me permission to do your ethnicity's accents. I get where you're coming from with that, but it's all good. It's all good. I got my Malcolm McDowell, my cartoonish Malcolm McDowell. I'm set enough. Tucson, Arizona. Oh, by the way, these telescoping bits feel really good on this copy. Someone had asked about this before. Like, they feel really good. I don't remember if I think I mentioned this a stream or two ago, but I actually went in and fixed up those telescoping things on HasLab Magnus. Because I read that a couple of other people had done that, and so I saw a guide how, and it was pretty simple. Oh, Oh yeah, I've seen the Jackie Daytona bit. It's pretty good. I've seen that Kid Mad Mary's Jackie Daytona bit. Do the voice Vangelus. No, my new go-to is the guy from Tinder Rodimus is my new go-to voice. Where it's like, okay, so what do you like to do? Do you like to get you want to get on the you want to see my rod pod? I got it custom painted to look just like me. It's like I like to fuck around. What do you like? You like to go out? I like go clubbing or something. What do you like to do? I don't know, that makes my brain happier. My main exposure to those type of in real life vocal performances are watching specifically clips of streamers watching parts of those like kind of insidious looking YouTube based dating shows with the friggin' the box or whatever. Those ones where it's like, how can we amplify like all the worst impulses of any given person's personality? You want a Rodimus star? You know what I mean? So, am I doing this right with these? Oh yeah, these go up. Okay, that does look right. Never mind. I was about to say, this doesn't look right. I fixed it. I was trying to think how to put into words the other day, because there's specific character types that make me extremely happy when I'm just like, you know, standing around in my kitchen or something. But I don't know how to describe it particularly well, because it's always going to be like, oh man, you know, if you're making a bowl of cereal and you're just like pouring the cereal and you're like. Something about that I just find really funny, you know, like if someone else is in the room, so you could be pouring your cereal and you're normally pouring your cereal. You notice someone comes into the room and you go like, something about that I find really funny. I don't know how to explain it. I think if I try to explain it, it would diminish and strip its skin off. It's like how whenever I watch other people do improv, the parts that make me actually guffaw are like when the crowd is dead silent, and I'm always like, well, I thought it was funny. So I was like, why are you laughing? I'm like, did you see what his mouth did? Mischievous Turtle currently trying to box shred my vortex with nothing but my thumb. Progress is being made. You can do it. Your thumb is strong. Oh wait, am I supposed to... No, this looks more normal. It's like this, right? I'm not supposed to... There's nothing to tell me I'm supposed to do it like that. That's just to access the launcher. Cereal! You could say these cornflakes were born to be moist with milk that was meant to nourish the young. I like the idea of someone like saying that and also the person they're talking to being just like, just dead silent. Just dead silent. JTL, clearly I joined the stream at the right time. Thank you. Welcome. That was specifically for you. Yeah, my favorite Megatron line is always going to be a G1 Megatron voice that's just going on about having a birthday party. I think that's really fun. I'm going to be a special little birthday boy with a special birthday party hat. They should be doing more Transformers cartoons like that. I want sparkles on my birthday cake, or I'm going to cry! I don't know why the laugh comes at the end of that, but... Soundwave! I want a bouncy house! All for me! No one else gets to go inside! Only me, by myself in my bouncy house! Oh, right, the monologues. My mother! Starscream! I wanted a pretty pink birthday cake with sprinkles! Optimus Prime just slowly leaving the room, maintaining eye contact, but slowly leaving the room. What about your mother? Did she die while you were born amidst screams and disgrace? Dark Elf? No, I did Transformers animated Megatron. I got the part to do that at a TFCon Toronto script reading with David Kay doing Optimus, and I was like, well, that fulfills most of my needs for the rest of the generation. And then shortly afterwards, at another TFCon Toronto, I got to portray Psykill from the GoBots alongside the actual voice actor of Crasher, which was like filling in the other half that I didn't know I had still to fill in of anything I ever needed for the rest of the generation. Which panel reading was it? Oh, I think I uploaded it, actually. I think it's on my channel somewhere. I need to go double check. I can't remember what year it was. It was obviously post-animated. Kiss me like you missed me, Optimus Prime! That's for you, Rob Stein 1. It is my hope that someday I can lay the seeds so that I can, just like somewhere in the world at any point just bellow out, "Born to a dead mother!" And then someone else across the room will be like, "Amidst screams and disgrace!" I still don't know how that worked. Like, I'm assuming it was something straightforward, but the way that Paizo wrote that still is like the timeline of logistics just ain't there. Well, you've just created that. And here we are. Circle, circle, dot, dot, now you've got a cootie shot, Prime! Would it be taking work away from Union member Frank Welker if I just opened a knockoff Megatron cameo? Oh, we didn't do the, Labubu son or Dubai chocolate daughter, Optimus Prime! I know what a Labubu is now. It's broken containment. Yeah, I kind of know what you mean, no. One thing I try to do because I like doing my Megatron voice, I just think is fun. But I also decided, like, I tried to take inspiration from the Frank Welker Megatron and also embrace all the many, many bits and pieces that are absolutely not Frank Welker Megatron. It's just my own funny voice I'm sort of doing. It makes me happy. This guy's a good dabber. So Dubai chocolate is supposed to be chocolate from Dubai. I realized what I was saying just now. A bicycle is a bike. It's supposed to be chocolate that is filled with a crunchy kind of phyllo pastry with a bunch of like matcha goop. A lot of places now sell something they call Dubai chocolate, which is, we found crunchy stuff, and we found goop, and we colored it green, and we put it in chocolate. Sorry, pistachio. Not freaking... I've been having matcha lattes a lot, because the place across the street does an iced matcha with real raspberry that I really like. It's gotten me on that matcha. But yeah, it's pistachio, not matcha. Ignore that last part. Anyway... Most places in North America that are just like, you know, like the as seen on TV places, like, we also have Dubai chocolate. It's like, it's as far as I understand, at least, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, as far as I understand, it is mostly places now figuring out if we stuff crunchy things and green stuff in chocolate, we can just tell them it's Dubai chocolate. Because that's the TikTok trend word. It's like Tanghulu, except I think there's less fake Tanghulu. I didn't look into it much because it's literally like liquid sugar glazed over fruit, which is maybe a step too far for me, who, you know, I try to look after my sugar levels to a degree while still having fun, and that's one of those things I just like write off as like, that's maybe not fun enough for me. Mischievous Turtle, I work at a distribution center for a convenience store chain in my area, and we sell Dubai chocolate. No, it's everyone Dubai chocolate. Well, I mean, it's not against the law. A Tanghulu is like a stick with, like, say, some strawberries on it, for example. And they will make, like, a simple syrup, like, sugar and water thing. There's maybe other stuff, but, like, my understanding is mostly it's just, like, because it dries clear. It's sugar that is liquidized, then dries as a clear glaze over the fruit, and then you go, and you bite into it, and it goes crunch, and then there's fruit inside, but also sugar. Which is absolutely fine. That sounds like a good time. It's just like, for me, I'm like, I think that maybe I would like to have a bite of half of a strawberry like that. I wouldn't want to stick with like 3 of them on it. And also, I kind of prefer a lot of the fruits involved, like, on their own. A stick with strawberries is a vegan kebab. Never thought about it like that. Do y'all clear coat your fruit? I prefer, yeah, also it's gloss, right? I prefer a satin. If you're gonna give me a vegan kebab, I'd prefer it to have a satin finish, honestly. Labubu, I don't really, I know what it looks like, but I mean, it looks like a trend plush. In isolation, it looks fine, but I don't know what the backstory is. A friend of mine described it to me as it came from an enterprising company who noticed something caught on and really took advantage of their thing catching on. Yeah, it's Beanie Babies. Yeah, it's like, it's fine. Uh, if someone had like a Labubu keychain or something, I wouldn't be like, "What is that? Is that a Labubu?" Disgusting. You make me sick. Yeah, Pop Mart. That's who it was. Yeah. A friend of mine, I forgot the name of their company, but a friend of mine had told me that it was basically like a known entity who had something pop off, and then they just went like, it's time to, make our career move. And then they leaned in, and it seems to have worked. No one's forcing me to buy a Labubu, so I'm like, whatever. The first time I heard Labubu was I went to a specialist video store on Roncesvalles, who also are partly an obscure title publisher of Blu-rays and DVDs. And while looking at all these obscure horror films and stuff, there was a toddler who was being pacified by watching Labubu Instagram or TikTok videos on someone's phone. So I heard someone in full influencer voice just go like, "A golden Labubu? We got a golden Labubu, while I only have a normal Labubu," and it was like that for like 5 solid minutes, and so I was just like, I guess Labubu is a word, and then I found out later on like what that actually was from. A 3-point stance, correct. That reminds me, I watched the newest that I'm aware of Asterix animation that was commissioned by Netflix of The Big Fight. I watched the English dub and then found out 3/4 of the way in that I was like, oh, there's actually like a full-on original French track. Just the dub was decent enough. I didn't notice the really off lip flaps until one of the commentator characters was talking. So I just finished watching it in the English dub because it was fine. But I thought it was fun. Like, again, it's kids fair, so there's a certain ceiling I have on it. But like, they do little tweaks here and there to the original story, but then like the biggest one, and I was like, it was sort of it circled the sun and it endeared me, was there was about a 5-minute sequence in the final episode where they were just like they did like multiple visual throwbacks to Avengers Endgame's final set piece, right down to the color grading, and they figured, like, they found the first time they did it was genuinely funny because this Roman who is empowered for some reason, right? That is in the original. Takes a tumble landing and then like superhero lands, and then his tumbling Roman soldier hat tumbling across the grass sounds like a Thor hammer sound effect before he catches it. And I was like, that's pretty funny actually. That's a pretty funny bit. But then they do the like the lineup part at the end, and then the part of that I thought that made it work for me because it was a little bit cloying and kind of irritating. But then the blacksmith from the village just Thor summons his hammer, but he's partly off screen and they don't explain what happened. He just Thor summons his hammer, and I was like the fact that you just had him do it with zero explanation and moved on is actually pretty funny. Like I kind of appreciate that. And then they don't actually go into a whole like we're gonna do 1 million extra throwback. They go on to do an ending to the sequence. What shows Asterix the Gaul. Write this in here. Asterix the Gaul of Asterix and Obelix fame. But yeah, it was all right. And then they did a Netflix gag at the end that I appreciated. It came very late. It was right before the end credits, but it was also pretty cute. The French. So because I grew up on Asterix and Obelix either in English or German, I constantly forget that it's actually French, and I keep like. I watch a cartoon of it that just came out and go like, I wonder why French language is the top of the language list. I don't know. Anyway. And then, 4 episodes in, I'm like, wait a second. Oh! But yeah. Anyway, that all just connected some neurons. I'm gonna shred something else. Me with code Lyoko 15 years ago. Local store near me, and then another local store, not near me, but, you know, on my subway line, they both simultaneously reactivated my awareness of Flesh and Blood, and then both stores gave me the pitch of, oh yeah, we still got players, it's a pretty casual crowd now, and I was like, I like a lot about the engine of this game, and I would love to play it with a casual crowd. Because I had lots of it from two different dalliances with the game since the turn of the decade. And then Meeple Mart only had I checked their website and did my little sneaky thing, and they only had 6 packs of this left, and Heavy Hitters is a set I would actually like to open a few packs of. Flesh and Blood's not an open packs kind of game, really, unless you're playing limited. In fact, most games are not open packs kind of games. That's an important thing. Flesh and Blood is just especially not, because, like, Flesh and Blood has very few universal card pool cards. It's just lots and lots of class pools. So you don't get much out of just opening a pack. But this is a set that was focused entirely on some classes I like. So I want to open these. I really just want an agility token, and I don't want to order a token online and have a token shipped to me, so I was like, I'll just open some packs, whatever. And then if I still don't get it, then I'll make my own. But, like, I want the normal... It's the only one I don't have. It'd be nice having a train system. It is! Everyone should have one. Also, I am surprised. I know that they still do paper packs. I assumed they only did paper packs. I did not know this is back to being plastic packs. Weird. Right, it's brutes and stuff. So I can't give the rundowns on these nearly as well as I could with Transformers cards. I'm gonna also change my camera focus. But I can give a little bit of some rambling as I go. Ugh. Is that 50? That's fuzzier. I'm gonna go 55. Let's go 60. No, I don't like 60. 55. Anyway, Totally Spies is French. Totally Spies and Martin Mysteries. Yeah, Totally Spies being French. That was from that. I don't know if that era is still going on, but like that era of like French anime being the catch-all word. Like obviously that's a little bit reductive. Any rares? Yeah. In Flesh and Blood, there's always 2 rare slots, and then one of those rares could be a Majestic or a Legendary. And there's a foil slot, which could be anything. And then in the back, there's, I believe, just 2 token slots. So the character cards, they just give you these throughout packs, usually sometimes double-sided like this. So this is, if you want to play as Kasai or Olympia, they are both available to me now in physical. Hooray, I don't have anything from this set. So aside from a few singles, and then... oh, yeah, then there's the token card. That's the token I wanted! This is interesting. I'd seen this before. So this is a card that has all 4 tokens that are available in this set, like cards that generate these, and then they did a perforation in the middle. So now I just have, like, usable token cards. I think this rules! I feel like I've gotten the vibe that some people find this unsightly, but I'm like, I kind of like this a lot. Because, you know, the way the tokens work in Flesh and Blood is, like, it seems, from my beginner vantage point, it seems rare that you actually have tokens around long enough to need to track most of them with, like, a die. So I kind of like that it's like, yeah, here's all 4 tokens. Then if you happen to need, like, 2 at the same time, then I don't know, hopefully you pull them again. But I thought this is cool, because they also do the tokens as a full-size card. And then as a variant, they also have like this 4Z one. Like we'll see, I guess, as we go on if I pull any of those. But I like this a lot because also this way you can't mix them up with all the other cards. Like no, this is the token. Cyber 6 was also French animation, I believe so. Yeah. I like a lot of French animation shows. There's some cool stuff that comes out of there. Franime so darling in the Franks slang, right? I still haven't seen Darling in the Franks. I know that word. Rosetta, yes, that's Skybite. Mine's pretty good. All the telescoping and sliding parts feel good. I don't know why I'm doing this body language, but like this is where we are. It's 2020. I'm gonna move this over a bit because I'm leaning forward a lot. So there's a bunch of commons to start off. Got Wild Ride, which is a brute action. Okay, brutes, guardians, and warriors. Those are the three classes in this. Good names too, and the art's pretty cool. Like Wild Ride, dude's on a pig. This is a reprint. I got this from like the original set. Concuss. Guardians tend to have really fun card names. I can't remember. There was a really funny one for basically like a headbutt, but it was like, friggin' like, I don't know, crack your friggin' put a dent in your skull or something. Assault and Battery is another brute card. Wallop! Good card name. Hold'em! Vigorous Wind-Up. Oh, interesting. So they got, like, ones for both classes. This is some... Oh, they got equipment in here, too. Stadium Centerpiece. So this game, Flesh and Blood, the game, is an interesting game because it is a fighting game that is sort of masquerading and forcing itself into the form of a card game. So you play as a character, and you start with usually 4 pieces of equipment on you, like head, chest, arms, and legs, and then your weapon, and then maybe something in your offhand. So you start at full power, and then equipment generally you can use for defense, but it'll usually have stuff that's like once you've defended with it, it breaks. So you start at full power, and then all your gear breaks down as you use it for defending or use its effects. And by the end of the game, you're like, you know, you're naked, you're bleeding, your arm is broken, and you're just trying to like beat the other guy before your other arm gets broken. I don't know. Rising Speed, Starting Stake, Rising Power. Alright, that's a great... Wow, Raw Meat. That is a chest equipment. Just strap on some raw meat, go fight somebody. I can infinite people in this game. I don't believe you can infinite, they balance that. The game has apparently suffered through some eras of kooky balance when they put in like classes like illusionists or whatnot. Okay, here's one rare, Colossal Bearing. I think this guy's called Jarl. And a Parry Blade, a rare warrior weapon. Can I use this to defend? What? It's +2 defense while defending a weapon attack. I don't know how the mechanics would work on that. And then my rainbow foil is Command Respect, which is a common. Let's see why they call this Flesh and Blood. Yeah, it was made by a New Zealand guy, and it was called Flesh and Blood in part because he specifically wants people to play it in person. He's really big on people playing it face to face in the Flesh and Blood. But it also has like a robust unofficial digital client called Talishar that I've never used. Because I'm too chicken. The other thing about this game is that you'll see like these 3 colors at the top. So there's 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue, and the way you pay for stuff in this game is you pitch cards from your hand, and then reds have 1, yellows give you 2, blues give you 3 resources, and that's how you pay for any costs that are in the top right. And some cards will exist only in 1 color, but then a lot of cards are available in red, yellow, or blue, where their effect or numbers are different for each, resource amount that they give you, which is like the kind of baseline of its design. IRL microtransactions, that is what a booster pack, I guess, kind of is. Actually, I guess that's specifically what a secret lair would be from Magic the Gathering. Because you're buying specifically... Oh, I got another one! Hell yeah. Alright. So now, I don't have... Hey, listen. What if I have an agility token, and then I need to also have a vigor token? Sorry, a Vigor token. Well, now I do. I've got all 4 tokens, but in little form. Finally, my life is complete. Well, also, so that's the thing, right? It's not so much fodder, because when... this is another thing that makes the game so, to me, interesting. When you pitch stuff to play, to pay for other cards, pitched cards go to the bottom of your deck at the end of your turn. And if you pitch multiple cards in the same turn, you choose the order they go to the bottom of your deck. Which means in like high-level Flesh and Blood, if you're playing a deck that will cycle to the bottom, your pitch order can really matter in the late game, that you're like stacking the bottom in a certain way. Apparently, I think that was like a big thing for mechanologists before they had one of their key cards get banned. I think that's neat, though. That's really interesting. There is no deck recycling, though, so like when your deck runs out, the ruling is when your deck runs out, you simply stop drawing cards and just play with what you have. And if you run out of stuff that you have, you stand there and get hit till you die. And if you both have run out of stuff and can't hit each other, then it's a draw. Can you sleeve the tokens? I believe this is a mini Euro size, because it's half a standard card size. So I technically could sleeve these. I probably won't, because I've become a hardcore like that. And we got Pack Hunt. Here we go. Pint of Strong and Stout. Hold 'em. Bare Fangs, but not Bare Fangs. You simply are going to bear fangs. Command Respect, non-foil. That sounds kind of fast-paced in a fun way. Yeah, it's, so they had a format that for years they tried to push as the beginner format called Blitz, where you play as a young hero who has 20 health instead of 40 health. You play with a 40-card deck instead of a 60-card deck, and you are maximum 2 of per copy of cards rather than 4 of. The problem is, and I ran into this the first time I tried to spread this game amongst friends and play it a bit, is I made a bunch of Blitz decks. Have a good night, Griff. The Blitz format is almost too fast, because that's a format where games can end in like 5 to 15 minutes, and it means that if it is your first blush with this game, you could get OTK'd in your very first game while playing ostensibly the beginner-friendly format, and that wrecked the game for some people that I tried to expose to, and I was like, I had moments where I was like, huh, this seems too fast and too swingy. So that's been part of the long story of Flesh and Blood, is them trying to figure out how to have presentable beginner formats and product, to be fair. And right now is a better... That's also why I got more interested. Right now, they figured out, I think, a better environment for this stuff. Wage agility. When this attacks a hero, you may wager an agility... Oh, that's... Okay, that's fun. When the attack chain link resolves, if this hits, you get an agility token, otherwise they get one. That seems pretty goofy, but kind of fun. Dylan Abbott started the stream from the beginning and am now so happy to have found a support group for people with faces on their asses like me. Hey, listen. That's what we're here for. And if y'all got a top jaw above them cheeks and crack, we are here to respect you. Connor McClure, yeah, the Flesh and Blood has some reputations. I'll ramble a bit more once I like flip through these cards a bit more. Fun and accessibility for a card game, big if true. Yeah, that's Flesh and Blood's biggest problem is accessibility. It is actually a massive problem for Flesh and Blood, in my opinion. Sheltered Cove. This is generic head equipment. Rising Energy. Trade in. Well, okay, Wage Might. Get a Might token. Vigor Girth! I like that name. Got rare equipment for Guardian. Offhand, Stonewall Impasse. That is absolutely a friggin' FromSoft-ass name for a shield. Commanding Performance. That's a majestic. That's a pretty solid card. Starting Stake is my foil, and Centauri Saber is my double-sided thing, and the Mandible Claw. Yeah, cheeks and crack. We don't pick, you know. We accommodate all. Stake is a start. Yeah, I want a medium rare right now. We got the Kasai Olympia again, and we got the Mandible Claw High Riser. One-handed hammer. So one-handed means you could have another one in your other hand, technically. Anyway, so this game, my experience with it is very limited. I still haven't played the 60 card format. What happened is after those Blitz decks, which allowed all rarities, right? After that was not a disaster, but just like kind of underwhelming for all of us. I found out about a new they tried to introduce a pauper format called Commoner, which is only commons and rares. So I built I retweaked my Blitz battle box into Commoner format, and then started building a 60 card constructed classic format deck for Dorinthia, the original warrior character, and that was a couple years back. And then I finished up the base build of it, you know, the kind of budget build, and then the game seemed to dry up, and then I was like, I didn't know the vibe of the places that were playing it, and I just kind of, other stuff happened. So, I updated the singles for my Dorinthia deck this past week, and Monday I'm going to try to go to my first constructed classic thing and see what happens. I have breached the vortex plastic window. All with the thumb! Excellent. That's working like the old martial arts master who's like, I don't even need a fist to break your whatever a window would be. Wide open! It's a good card name, Thunk. First for my turn, I play Thunk. Next I play Thunk. Engaged Swift Blade, Mighty Wind Up. Flat Trackers, good for indoors, very comfortable shoes. Wage Vigor. Rally the Rear Guard, cover the butt. Thunk. Thunk OTK! Wage Might, Embrace Adversity. That, Embrace Adversity is arm equipment? I find that a little confusing. This may only defend an attack if the attack's controller destroyed a might token. So only if someone attacks you with might, you can embrace their adversity and defend for 2. And then this gets destroyed. Clash of Vigor. And take it on the chin. And then rare foil, Clash of Might. Why is it arm equipment? I guess because you use your arm to do that gesture when someone attacks you with might. More like Vambrace Adversity. More like Arm Brace Adversity. Holy moly. So, the one thing that would have bummed me out is if I didn't get a single, like, freebie agility token out of all these. All the rest of this is gravy. So I don't actually have any real goals with this. Cygnus, judging by the thumbnail of the stream, I take it you too are an Age of the Prime Skybite haver. Well, you know, I'm still on the lookout for them. I'm trying to find out where I could, like, get one locally. I've been looking for ages. It's really, really difficult. Like, I go to stores, I'm like, do you have Age of the Prime's Voyager class Skybite from Transformers Generations? And they don't reply to me. They're just like, why are you talking about a character from the year 2001 on Fox Kids, you loser? And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, kindness is free. I know I could have simply answered your question, Cygnus. It's just I wanted to do the bit because I was curious what would happen. I better keep... Since I already have my tokens now, I guess I can keep this one. Mint on card. Granted, the cards were in the... Yeah, true. It's like... I'm looking for a Skybite. Ah, I found one. Ah, excellent. Another Centauri Saber. This is one-hander. Okay, so I got 2 Centauri Sabers. I do know those are the Kasai weapons, so now I got a fully equipped Kasai I could build a budget deck for. That is the other reputation Flesh and Blood has. So, this equipment, right? Equipment doesn't start in your deck. So the cool thing is, your equipment you can actually put in, like, hard cases and just keep outside your deck. That's really neat. Generic equipment anyone can use. There is... The most expensive cards in this game, for the most part, are legendary equipment, which are very... This game tied efficacy to rarity with a lot of the equipment. So... There's this double-edged sword where, like, Fyendal's Spring Tunic is the original legendary chess piece to this day, it's still one of the best chest pieces in the game. If you have one, you could just choose to use that as your chest piece. You'll probably be better off than, like, putting thought into something else in a random matchup with somebody. The cool thing is, I got Fyandel's Spring Tunic, and it's like a $200+ card, despite having 4 reprints, right? I think 4 reprints, maybe more. If you get one, and then you've got one. You don't ever need another one, because whatever equipment you have, you don't shuffle it into a deck. So if you have a super valuable piece of equipment, you just carry it around with all your decks, and then you just put it down in your chest slot whenever you're playing. So that's the neat thing, is that the idea was, the most valuable cards in this game, you only ever need one ever in your entire life, because you just use it with all your decks. There are also some very powerful generic actions to this day. That's where things get a bit kooky. There are powerful in-your-deck cards for various decks, and as decks get more powerful or less powerful in the big kind of like the fighting game meta state that exists, they will spike up and down wildly. So this game is very famous among non-players of Flesh and Blood as, oh, it's the expensive game. It's the game Magic the Gathering players often refer to as, oh, it's the expensive game. That's also why I'm very interested in not only budget decks, but budget formats, like the player-driven format Project Blue, which is players fixing Blitz, which apparently worked out so well that the company that makes the game is like, actually, y'all are right. That's just, we're going to back that format into some development now, is my understanding from, I think, Gen Con, or a show before then. I don't remember the timeline. But, that's the part of this game that also I kind of like, is that they are, the community at least, if not the company itself, still seems to support the idea of what if you had, like, a cheaper, fun format that isn't the super grindy tryhard format. It's just the company that makes this game, they have good intentions, but the results are often, like, very, like, they're shaped like a giant wiggling S on its side. Konami actively ruining alt formats. Is that a Yu-Gi-Oh thing? Does Konami, like, actually, like, get in the way of other format developments? Because that's the thing that always kind of, when you look at Yu-Gi-Oh and you hear about Yu-Gi-Oh, you're like, well, are there other formats that, like, work around the kind of, where the joke about Flesh and Blood is all the cards are expensive. The joke about Yu-Gi-Oh is nobody reads the cards. They just roll dice to see who goes first, and then the person who rolled right wins. Wage agility. Performance bonus. This is me. That's the, if you've ever been to a TF con, like, that's usually how I, get a couple free drinks. I just go and chill out in the lobby and just go like, damn, how did Vangelus figure out my YG start? Or strat? This is a good name for a shield. What's your shield? That's not my shield. That's my bloodied oval. Because it is an oval, and it's got blood on it. Wage Vigor, Adrenaline Rush, Pack Call is another rare. When this defense reveal the top card of your deck. If it has 6 or more attack, put it on the top. Otherwise, put it on the bottom. Interesting. Oh, this is an attack card. But when you defend with it... Okay, I see. Brutes, as far as I know, their whole thing is... They don't roll dice necessarily, but they do the equivalent of rolling dice. So they're like the, I just wanted to play gotcha. I don't know if there's a fighting game equivalent to a gotcha character, but Wage Gold. Oh dang. While in any zone, this is the same class as your hero. Whoa, dang. Everyone gets to gamble. I need to go and, like, look up to see what all these wage cards are like, and if they actually matter at all. Just yesterday, Flesh and Blood released a Guardian class-centric set, which looks... Oh, dang, I got a foil version of what I do at the bar. And by all accounts, it sounds like it's a real stinker, because it's trying to be an expansion aimed at one class... But also, it's trying to be a refill for a sealed Guardians-only gameplay box they're putting out that if you play through it and you want to refill it with fresh booster packs, you buy one box of this new Guardian set. And it's also trying to be a set where you can do what's called crack shuffle play, where you open 3 packs, take out the back 2 cards of each, shuffle them together, and that's your deck. And so apparently a lot of the cards in the set are kind of middling reprints. There are anti-Guardian cards for crack shuffle play because everyone is playing the one character in the set in a mirror match when they play crack shuffle play with it. So it sounds like it's a set that's trying to be like 3.5 things at the same time, and it's apparently a bit of a mess. The crack shuffle play thing they tried to do with another set that I bought some packs of, and it was just so confusing because, like, I don't know. They're trying to do Jumpstart basically, like 3-pack Jumpstart or 2-pack Turbo, as was invented in Transformers the TCG. And it just sounds like it meddles with sets because this game does not have a ton of universal cards as a card pool. It's just a lot. There's a generic universal pool, but mostly it is class pools, and within those class pools, there's talent versions of classes. So there's warrior cards, but then there's also light warrior cards for warriors that also have the light talent added in. And so it's very, like, built around draft experiences. If it's a set like the Pirate set that just came out, which apparently rules, called High Seas, in that set, everyone's a pirate. And then there's Pirate Necromancer, Pirate Ranger, Pirate Mechanologist, and that's how the set breaks up. That's how it has draftability, and etc. And it means there's 3 and a hidden 4th character that you could pick from in that set. The Guardian one, everyone plays this lady who was on cards for a while called Valda, and that's it apparently. Oh dang! I got this is the orc brute who has 1 arm, as of this point in the storyline. That's a young, and young Reiner. So this is 2 of the brute characters, but it's the young version with 20 health for when you're playing the smaller formats. Could you just use the other card and say he only has 20 health? You could, but then the art would be inaccurate. I'm always opening illegal cards. And then what do we get? We've got the High Riser and another Centauri's Saber. You can call him Arm Haver because he has an arm. True. Alright, Engaged Swivel. We've got a yellow Thunk to go with my blue Thunk! I think it was blue. Smashback Alehorn. Threatening to hit somebody with a horn full of ale means you get an agility and a might token. That's a good name. Bigger than big. Oh, by the way, another thing about this game. So you see how this says go again. An interesting thing about this game is that you start your turn with exactly 1 resource, which is exactly 1 action point. A big part of this game is that if you use your action point to do an action, that's your turn. You did an action. So a big part of the game is trying to chain actions by either using cards that say go again, which gives you another action point after the card resolves, or by using cards that give other things go again, so that you chain actions together and, like, maximize your turns. Hold'em. Wage agility. Stadium centerpiece, that's what they call me when I'm at TFCon that's at a stadium. Hi, sorry, I'm a liar. It's fine. Robstein 1, Smashback Alehorn, that's what they call me. Yeah, they put all of us into these things. Rising power. Money where your mouth is! I think that's Valda? Every time there's like a beefy woman with wrist bracers, my understanding is that's supposed to be Valda, but I might not have understood right. What does this card do? Your next attack gets +2 attack, and when this attacks a hero, you may wager a gold token with them. Okay. The wager thing sounds like it was just for limited, but I'll take a look. Rising Energy, got some more of that raw meat. Got another pack call. And a stacked in your favor. Go again. Your action or attack action cards get +1
Defense while defending. Oh, it's an aura, so that stays on you. At the start of your turn, destroy this, just draw a card, and then put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So you get an aura for one turn that lets you defend better with your cards. And lead with a speed with some foiling. Tall Blood. Beef Woman, yeah. Famous Flesh and Blood character, Beef Woman. What in the world's going on outside? It's probably an ambulance. They're always making my life difficult. Back in the day, I was lamenting this. I forgot what the conversation was, but we were lamenting that nobody ever says, like, SJW anymore. Because it was a funnier world back then. And back then, my whole joke I always ran in my head was I was imagining, like, this, like, you know, just bloodied, like, shriveled old guy in a hospital. And he's shoving the... Every time the doctor goes to put the IV in his arm, he's shoving him. He's like, no! And they're like, sir, I'm trying to help you. And the guy's like, sounds like you're an SJW, which means social justice warrior. And he dies on the spot. I always thought that was a really funny scene. It doesn't play as well anymore because you can't drag it out like that, right? This used to be a country. Check it out. It's Victor Goldmane. And also Betsy. My understanding is Betsy and Olympia are characters who were only ever meant to be young characters, and then they threw in old versions of them for 60 card, but neither character was ever built to actually survive that format, is my understanding. So Betsy is apparently Blitz, or Project Blue only, or Sealed only, as far as, like, being a useful character. And she does the wager thing, so I think that confirms the wager thing is mostly just meant for limited and small card formats. And we also got another Mandible Claw and another High Riser. This is the final pack. Do we get a legendary or a fabled card in this pack? Ooh, I'm trying to... How do we friggin... we're talking about in the Discord. I was looking around at Dollarama today. I was trying to see if they had some of those, like, scummy, like, the $5 for 200 cards things for Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I was like, I feel like it's coming back. It's rising once again. The worst of climaxes that culminate in it's time to do another Soggy video. And I was like, I need a trash-ass pack of cards to open. But they didn't have any. They are not supporting me as a small, independent, Canadian-made creator. MJ Holdings up to their nonsense again. My $600,000 pallet of Flesh and Blood packs to shred. Yeah, the dollar store cards are legit. They're just usually garbage. Like, it's scrapings of, whatever's on the floor of a game store or a warehouse. So if I can find another one of those, I think I might have Soggy Hamhawks energy again, but I'm not sure. Pack Hunt. Concuss. Wild Ride. Vigorous Engagement. Oh, that's a good name. Who all play in their Big Bop? Who all play in their Big Bop? Big Bop OTK. Yeah, my Guardian deck runs Big Bop tech. I like to do a Big Bop meta. Big Bop's the kind of card that has to be slammed onto the table. Yeah, it's an aura too. It's like, all right, first action, I'm pitching 3 to play Big Bop, and we're going right into Thunk. Any responses? Actually, my favorite card gamer thing, without, I'm trying not to be a bully about it. It's just it's a vocal tick among some card gamers, but I don't know why it's a little bit sandpapery to me. Is when people are like, hang on, I gotta go get a Thunk. Where's my Thunk? There's my Thunk. they're playing, right? And they're like, pitch, big bop. Pitch, thunk. And like that's their side of the exchange, and I'm always kind of like, I'm like, have fun with it though. And I was like, pitch for big bop, pitch thunk. Because also, I don't know what you're doing. You are not saying any articles or verbs, or. But like, I want the one who's like, pitching big bop, and pitching, attack, thunk. Reactions, like that's what I want. If it's gonna go to shorthand talk, that's what I want. Hello, Transalamander. What's up? That's some heavy contact. We got rising speed. We got protect the butthole. We got vigorous wine. I'm getting all the Vigor cards now. I love saying that word. A gauntlet of Might. Oh, destroy to create a Might token. Alright. I play Big of Bop, which allows me to draw 2 cards from my deck. Oh, that's such a good bit. Such a good bit. Lead with Power, which allows me to draw 2 cards from my deck. Oh, another performance bonus. Once again. That's how we make our TFCon drinks money. That is me on Saturday. Test of Might is my first rare slot. When this defends, clash with the attacking hero. The winner creates a Might token. Clashing, heroes reveal the top card of their deck. The one that reveals the card with the greatest attack value wins. Seems a swingy AF. Fatal Engagement. Oh, I think I actually need this card. Play this only if an attack action card is defending this chain link. Target attack gets +4. Assault and Battery is my final and common rainbow foil. Oh, this says Beat Chest as an additional... I was wondering what that meant. As an additional cost to play something that says Beat Chest, you may discard a card that is 6 or more attack. When this attacks, if you've beaten Chest this turn, create an agility token. Well, that's not a good sentence. That's a good friggin' sentence. That's a good game. Game where you can go like I am playing Assault and Battery. I am beating Chest, attacking for 7. Because I have beaten Chest this turn, I will also be creating an agility token. Tonbot with the follow-up expansion mechanic. If you've beaten Meat, concede. Damn it! Oh, hello, Treebot. Alright, so I got what I wanted. Which is this. But I gotta sort these and add them to my card. I got to break down and sort all those decks I built like two or 3 years ago and resort everything, which is actually a way that I have fun. That's just me. I have fun doing that. And then I gotta see what I got and see what I can trade in at some of the stores that are still playing this game. I will show you. I had a whistly S there. I will show you what I've been doing. It's not the police, it's ambulances. People are just getting their asses kicked too hard because they weren't guarding the rear guard. So I dressed up my quiver Bolt, which is my little quiver. So let me see if I can give you the tour. So I got the, I mostly started off with the sticker sheet that I got from Cybertronic Spree. So I got some of their little insignias on the bottom here, and then I got a slightly bigger one just on the bottom left over here. And then they had 2 big stickers, so I put one of them here because it fit just right, and I was like, that looks pretty baller. And then this is a sticker I got at a TFCon, and it was so big, and I was like, I don't actually know where I can fit this. Because it's like a vinyl-y one, too. So I found with the vinyl-y ones, if they go over this curve, they eventually will go like, pew, and it's very annoying. So it just fit here right. And so I'm like, this feels like a good, like, my small quiver for smaller games. And then you go inside. And then there's my two classic constructed decks. So this is the main one. This is my Dorinthia. The one that I've been tooling on for a while now that I'm so excited to finally play against a person. Ideally on Monday. So Dorinthia Iron Song is the original warrior. My understanding is she's like the bar check at a local group if you have someone who knows how to play her, which is my goal, is to learn how to play her through just like playing and losing a lot. And so she's apparently a lot like a fighting game character, like a lot like a fighting game character. Her whole goal is to try to hit you twice with her sword every turn. And she's full of like attack and defense reactions, mostly attack reactions, to try to like, you're trying to like bluff and bait, very fighting game style of like, you know, are you going to let me poke you twice? Or if you're gonna block me, which one are you gonna block? Like, am I gonna pump up this attack and you block it, or I'm gonna make you think I'm gonna pump it? You go full on block it, and I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna pump it. Screw you. Because her whole thing is when a weapon you control attacks or hits this turn, when it hits, you may attack an additional time with that weapon this turn. You still have to pay for it with the one action point you get, so you have to get a go again to fire off. And her weapon is the Dawn Blade. Which can only attack once per turn unless her ability goes off, and it costs a resource point to attack. When it hits, and it's the second time it's hit this turn, you put a +1 attack counter on it. It's base 3. If it hits twice, now it's base 4. At the beginning of your end phase, if the Dawn Blade has not hit this turn, remove all +1 attack counters from it. So if you break the chain, you lose your pump. But if you manage to just keep hitting people over and over again, your sword keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that's kind of her basic idea, is like, if somebody like doesn't really know how to pilot their deck super well, and you have like a decent Dorinthia player, then apparently it's like she's the first boss, she's the bar to like move to higher level plays. Like, can you get past the Dorinthia? Now I'm a complete newbie, so I'm just gonna probably be stumbling and fumbling the whole time. Then I got these equipments for her. This is the big one. This is the card that I actually had an old legendary I was able to trade in last week to pay off just over half the cost of this card with it, and that was pretty cool. And what I noticed about equipment is, so a lot of this equipment can defend, and a lot of it is when it defends, it either loses a defense value or it just breaks on the spot. And then a lot of their abilities involve, like, you do a thing once, then the equipment, breaks. So it's not like gear you're trying to protect. These are, like, one-off cards that are available to you at the start of the game outside of the cards you're drawing, which is interesting. But then things like the Brave Forge Bracers are, like, once per turn you can spend a resource point, then your next weapon attack this turn gets +1 attack. You activate this only if a weapon you control has hit this turn. So this thing lets you buff your second Dawnblade attack every turn if you actually get the chain going, so you kill them faster. And then these are the tokens that I already had, so I can now slip an agility in there to go with them. And then this is the deck so far. And this deck is like, so one thing I did is I have a link on Fabrary, the Fab library. And these are all my maybe cards that also probably could go into the deck. I just don't know what to do. So I built a deck with an inventory sideboard as per construction rules, and then in the Fabrary section you can have a maybe board. So I just put all those cards in the maybe board, so I have a one-off link. If someone like really wants to help me, who knows how to play the game, I can go like, well, here's my link of all my cards I have like right now on hand that I think are useful, so tell me what to do. But like Dorinthia's got the specialization cards and whatnot, and a lot of this stuff is like attack reactions, or after once you attack in this game, your attack becomes the start of a chain of attacks, and I think most of hers are reactions. Yeah, so she starts off by attacking with the Dawnblade, right? That starts the chain. I've attacked. You can do a defense reaction, yes or no. I can do an attack reaction, yes or no. You go back and forth until you have both passed consecutively. Then you finish with the attack, deal damage if possible. That chain link closes. Then you can do another attack. And that's kind of like the flow of the game. And it's so fun. The couple of times I have gotten to play it. The way they teach this game is often with a ninja character called Ira, who is like combo based. So lots of zero cost attacks that are like, it's an attack card, but it also says if you've attacked already with card name or card name, this gets a buff. And it's all, there's no like one-off orders. It's all very circular with that character's cards, the ninja cards. So playing Ira versus Ira ninjas is like, apparently to this day, still one of the best ways to learn the game. So I want to build like two small Ira or Ira decks and like have those to just jam with friends. Anyway, yeah, the flow of this game, I just found so fun, and it's like intense. It's very brain burny, but in like a fun way. But then the thing that got me really looking at this again is they put out. So they have these things called armory decks, which are those 60 card decks as precons, which is the big new thing that seems to really now have a real entry product that is not like full on just beginner stuff. And they put one out for this new character called Gravy Bones, who is debuting the Necromancer class, but also with the talent of Pirate. So he is the Pirate Necromancer. Illusionists debuted the idea of creating an actual board state in this game where you have allies, and apparently they immediately broke the game. So a lot of people are like, this could be a problem. This guy also immediately won a big tournament in Singapore. So I think that this character is probably going to be like monitored heavily, but the way this guy plays is so fascinating. And this is now a modified precon, but I modified it in the very, very budget, like I added $5 of cards to it way. Because this guy just won a huge tournament, most of his best cards are now incredibly expensive. But I've been goldfishing with this and still just having fun with it, because like his whole gameplay loop is you try to discard cards, and then all the yellow cards are his crewmates that are the allies, right? And the whole goal is to discard crewmates and then discard a blue card, which then gives Gravy Bones the ability to play crewmates out of your graveyard with Go Again when you've got his fancy compass, which you start the game with. That also lets you once per turn peek at the top card of your deck. So a lot of the deck is like, do something and discard a card or destroy the card off the top of your deck. You're trying to get guys with Watery Grave, which is usually the allies, to proc effects. And then when a guy with Watery Grave on your board gets killed, they go into your graveyard and get flipped face down, so you cannot resummon them. Like, that's like one of the base balancing points. So the way he works is, as much as it is like anathema to like the 1v1 nature of the very, very core of the game, a guy who summons helpers and also does it out of the graveyard is exactly my kind of stuff in games like Magic the Gathering. I just love graveyard goofery. So I picked up this deck because it seemed very fun, and I was goldfishing the play lines a bunch just for fun on my desktop, and having a good time. So I want to try this out too. I think that this is the kind of deck where I have to tell people, like, FYI, I am a super beginner, and I did not put $800 into this deck, so don't worry, I'm not gonna like pop off hard. Like, because I do not have like certain super fancy equipment, for instance, I have to play cards to make sure that I actually have gold tokens on the field, whereas if you plunk a bunch of money into this deck, you have equipment that all but guarantees you have gold as soon as the game starts, for instance. Could Skybite be a part of Gravy Bones' crew? Probably. There's also just good names in here. This is the card, because this card is in all 3 colors, so you can have 9 copies of it in your deck. Golden Tipple. This is the one that a lot of people went to as like, they need to do something about the fact that a quarter of your deck can be tipples. The guy who won in Singapore, I think it was in Singapore, they have an official Deck Tech interview video during which he says tipple like 14 times in the course of a minute and a half or something, and like kind of calls it out on himself after. He's like, I said tipple a lot. Because he's just saying tipple, tipple, and then tipple, and you did tipple, and then you did tipple, tipple, and then tipple. And I think it's kind of fun that, like, the word tipple has been ruined for a lot of people, because it's, like, it's a very silly word. I'm trying to think there's any other funny card names in this, though. There is Sawbones, the Undead Pirate Doctor, the Rigor Mortis, oh yeah, they give you one of these in this precon, and apparently this as a single costs a little bit more than the cost of the precon. So I think that's kind of neat as a reprint idea. Is like, you know, here have a $40 card in the $40 precon. There's Limpet. There's a whole Bones cycle. There's Jittery Bones. There's Restless Bones. This is one of the ones I bought, common that I bought to add to the deck, the Swabby. To swab the, ostensibly, deck of poop. Another one to buy was one copy of Avastii, because they only give you 2 in the deck, and it's like, apparently you'd like to have 3. I don't think I have any of the other super funny names in here. When I bought the thing, they actually gave me a promo card. I forgot if I put it in here or not. Yeah, so they gave me the BioBox promo when I bought the deck, which was kind of kind. So I have one copy of Scuba, the Salty Sea Dog in Rainbow Foil. It's an undead dog who can fetch... what is it? It's texting me. Put a yellow card from the graveyard on the bottom of the owner's deck. So he can fetch, ostensibly, some bones from the graveyard and bury them to turn them into gold. This is only female presenting tipples. I mean, listen, we're... Oh, what doesn't YouTube doesn't allow channels to show... Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. No, yeah, I am very much, you know, waving some very male presenting tipples. I mean, like, you look at the card. Well, you know, actually, now I'm looking at it some more. It's not as beefily masculine as it could be. So maybe it's a debatable tipple. Free tipples, by the way. Free tipples on stream. These aren't free. You have to buy these off me if you want them. They cost me like at least 30 cents. This is a card I took out. I replaced with the Swabbies, the Barnacle. Debate tipple, you might say. True. I hear Jada is doing a scuba action figure. Yeah, I hope so. Tipple slip. So I ended up, because Dorinthia is the deck that I really want to play and do stuff with, I ended up double sleeving that deck. But then I needed another pack of these to double sleeve the few leftovers, the ones that are in here. Put inner sleeves on them. These Game-Genic inner sleeves are pretty decent, I was finding. Like, considering that they are, like, less than the Dragon Shield ones, I was pleasantly surprised. And then over here is this my little token box. I found out 2 years ago, because I'm a cheapskate, I made some tokens for this game. So when you play resources, this one is just hypothetically if you need 3 or 4 resources on the table. But when you play, you pitch for resources, usually the most you pitch is 3, and the minimum you're paying is 1. So I'm like, if you have 1 or 2 floating, I made a token to have like 2 floating or 1 floating, and I was pretty proud of myself. And then I made like little tokens for like, if your armor on your equipment is at -1, and then if it's broken, again, I was pretty proud of myself. I made these to keep track of plus attack till end of turn buffs. Because that's an important thing to keep track of, I found, the couple times I played, like, in the attack chain. Guardians sometimes dominate, so I wanted to make a thing I could throw at somebody and say, "You've been dominated." And then... Because Go Again is, like, worth keeping track of if lots of card play is happening, I just made a big triangle that says Go Again that I can put down to remember that I have Go Again. And I was pretty happy with this. Boulder, I remember a while back hearing the game-genic inners suffered from inconsistent fits. Maybe it's gotten a bit better now. I did notice sometimes they were a little bit tighter to get on than other times, but otherwise, it's... How do I put it? I felt that way with Dragon Shield once sometimes, too. I was just like, if I can get inner sleeves for $3 for 100, then hell yeah, I can get back into the good biblical practice of double sleeving. Alright, that is the Vangelus Dominate token, TM. This is just using, like, offcuts and, like, you know, the leftover blank ones you get sometimes off board game token sheets, and Copics. Scorp, I started using tokens after missing too many start of turn effects. No, I'm a big token head. Like, I think the more tokens, the merrier. I'm very big on, and this is a thing where sometimes but I have one of these too, because I have a bunch of these, so I have this to keep track of life. In my opinion, there is nothing lost in a card game like these kind of card games to be good about stating your mechanics as you go, so that you don't get confused and your opponents don't get confused. And so with like stuff like go again tokens and things, I'm a huge fan of that because I like a clear board state and I like clear mechanics. I went and played some Commander on Friday with someone who basically said like I only have a bracket 5 CEDH deck, and I was like, that's fine. Like, well, because he was kind of lost for a table. It was just me and a friend of mine, and there was another guy who was stuck for a table, and I was like, worst case, the three of us know that you're CEDH, so like, you know we'll probably target you, so like, and he's like, yeah, and he laid out, he's like, yeah, I'm playing a VV deck, and like, I am trying to mill you all out with an infinite combo by, you know, ideally turn 3, but sometimes later, and I was like, alright, like, we know what's happening at least, so, and when we were playing, when he got to the first time, we almost got him before his infinite went off. We were super close. When he got to his infinite, he actually had 2, tokens that he made out of, like, I think spare cards. One just said red mana, one said blue mana, with, like, VV drawn on them. It was really cool. And he was using that to keep track of, because it's like, you have to demonstrate your loop at least once or twice, right? So to demonstrate the loop, he was using those to keep track of how much red and blue mana he had as he was going through the thing. And I was like, I said straight up, I was like, I really like this, because I know you're popping off an infinite combo, but I feel like I know what's happening, and I feel interested in what's happening. That's back in the day when Transformers TCG had the Springer Infinite, and dude whose name I constantly forget, had the flash cards to lay out, you know, the one and only time that stack actions happen in Transformers was this very stupid Springer card. And he had flash cards to lay out how everything was happening and how he was going infinite. And he did it in a very fun, energetic way, and it felt engaging, and I liked that. Tonbot, I really like this, said nobody who was facing VV. Yeah. I mean, I knew I was getting into some deep water, so I wasn't like, you're going infinite! But it was like one of the best examples of like someone going at least infinite enough to mill us out before he mills himself out. And I really like that, because I'm like, if you're gonna do that, then yes, just be engaging about it. Like, for example, I haven't played this against people yet. I've been doing reps with this so that I don't waste people's time whenever I do play with people. Is I put together a deck around Ulalek the Fused Atrocity, right? Who's this Eldrazi who duplicates the stack when you pay 2 colorless mana. If you have cast an Eldrazi spell, you can duplicate the stack. That's all spells on the stack, all activated effects as well. And after you copy all spells you control, copy all other activated and triggered abilities you control. So it's basically duplicate the stack in layman's terms, and that's very complicated, in my opinion, in the game of Magic: The Gathering. Why is the deck? It's 100 double sleeved cards. So this is what a 99. This is what a double sleeved commander deck looks like. Back in 2018, when I got back into the game the first time, I spent a whole weekend learning how to mash shuffle commander decks that had been double sleeved, so that I could just, like, you know, do at least a good 3 mashes real quick, like. But I love doing reps with this one because it makes me feel clever. Usually I do it on Architect now that they have a playtester thing, but like, you know, pick it up and I'm like, oh, do I like this opening hand? Whether or not I do, I'm not sure, but like, some of the kooky things that can happen is like, I'm going to play a sorcery and then an instant, and then I will, because I have enabled flash on them, I will flash out this Eldrazi. Then tap 2, use Ulalex ability, I will duplicate the stack, and then I will start to do the duplicated stack, and as that's wearing down, maybe I'll flash another Eldrazi spell, duplicate the remaining, and so basically I try to do reps with things like that, so that when I'm playing with people, I'm not like, this is what my cards do, and I've been on the other end of this, where someone's like, alright, I'm gonna duplicate the stack. Hang on. And so I do this, and did I do this once already? And then, wait. And where was I? And like, I've been there with someone who comboed off with like, and they had like 5 enchantments that all had triggers, and their turn was taking like 15 minutes because they were visibly confused by what they were doing with their own cards. And I was like, I wasn't like mad to the point of like, you amateur, but I was like, I feel the lesson I will take from this is if I have a deck that can be complicated, I will try to do the reps so that at least I'm used to what it does and I can explain what's happening. How do you shuffle a commander deck? Like this. You take your 99 cards, and you just you gotta use some control so they don't spray everywhere, and you just push them together like that. Yeah, with your hands, exactly. If you want like a serious answer, what I recommend, because it's basically doing that, you take roughly split in half, then take the 2 top halves and push those together. And then you take the 2 bottom halves and push those together. And then put that on top. You've now basically mash shuffled the deck. And cut it while doing so. So that's something you can do. Is if you're doing commander decks, you don't have to be a badass about it. Just take a couple chunks of it and shuffle them together. And do that, you know, 2 or maybe even 3 times. And just stack them on top of each other as you go. And then if you have one left over, just try to, like, stick it in the middle. Or on the top or the bottom. Just, like, be random with it. Yeah, corner-to-corner mashing. Yeah. Thank you, Rosetta. I will demonstrate that. So, the tops, right? That's the opening on the sleeve. So, if you go tops to tops, that can get kind of, like, messy. The bottom is where everything is sealed off. So, if you take the bottoms, right, and you butt the bottoms together like this, then they go together way easier. It also depends on the sleeves you have. Most sleeves, you can do this well enough. Some sleeves, especially if they're glossy sleeves, they might be sticky, and that can be real annoying to deal with. And in that case, I would say maybe consider also... hang on, you're getting some free knee there. I am wearing shorts, but you get some free knee there. You might want to take, like, again, like, work with smaller chunks first. Don't try to do, like, all 99 of them at the same time. But, like, if you just can't get the mash shuffling to work, again, with the bottom corners, use your thumbs on the bottom corners and just lightly riffle them together, like that. Just rub the bottoms together. Sticky bottoms are often a problem. So true. I did a nice one! I did a nice board game shuffle. You just take them like this. It's gonna go. I know. Alan Weaver, I find also I don't have problems working out my combos, but people going, wait, you did what when I go off? That's, I think, another part of combo play that is understated in the online discourse is, and I kind of was hinting at this with how I described the VV combo, is like, if you do have a combo you're aiming towards, I think it's better for everyone and fun for you if you have a fun way of explaining it once it happens. If you're like, all right, here, I don't really play combos much, so I don't have the experience. But it's like, it's rather than just going like, and I go infinite, and you just kind of stare at everybody. It's like, all right, any responses? Because if there are no, you go any responses, and if I would say, especially if it's casual pods, I would say any responses because I am about to go infinite. And you do the, player priority, and if no one has it, you go like, all right, I'm gonna demonstrate the loop now, and then I guess in a way my answer is like, have fun demonstrating one round of the loop, and then go like, does anyone need to see that again, or do we get it? And if someone's like, I still don't get it, and like, all right, then like, let's go again. Alexis Silver, here's your homework, kids. Practice your infinite speech. Kind of serious. I don't know. I think that's like an element of the infinite combo win con that like it makes. I just think it makes it more fun for everybody. Like, obviously, it's not fun if the way you do your speech is like, all right, maggots. Now that you've all lost, you don't even know it. I'm going to show you how and why. But yeah, I think there's just a way to have fun doing it. The villain monologue. Uh-oh, game changer. Uh-oh, game changer. Uh-oh, Final Fantasy. Oh yeah, I did, because I got a Bloomborough bundle, which is rare for me, way back. Way back. So I tried to use all the Bloomborough full art lands for this one, because Ulalek is 5-color. The build I went with doesn't really use any white, so I just needed like the basics for the other 4 colors. And I like to use similar basics. Sorry. Uh-oh, game changer. I was wondering if anyone was going to call me out on that. But, for instance, like, this is an Eldrazi spell, so I could have some way of flashing. I think I have a way of flashing this out. I forgot precisely what it was now. But if I was able to flash this out, then I could have played, another... Or I could have played this. It'd be kind of pointless, but I could have played this, and then an instant, then another Eldrazi thing, and then pay 2, and then have 2 All Is Dusts on the stack. So it's like, 2 of these are going to happen now. I will board wipe twice. I forgot like what some of the really basic ones are. I mean, another a funny one, right? Is you could cast Ulamog, and then while Ulamog, the big like 10-cost Titan, is sitting there on the stack, if you use Ulalek's ability to duplicate the stack, then you also duplicate Ulamog, and you get 2 times the when you cast trigger. The 2 Ulamogs, one of them will explode because of the legendary rule, but, like, still, it's kind of funny. I almost... Wait, did I? Wait, I might have put the mirror box in this, actually, just for funsies. Or the mirror gallery. Look, it's the demonic tutor that I pulled when I was a kid and bought magic cards in Germany. This is another key card, Echoes of Eternity, duplicates triggered abilities. And then I think that if you play this and dupe the stack, because it's not a legendary enchantment, you could end up with double Echoes of Eternity on the table if it all passes, which is kind of funny. I like duplication stuff. Look at this funny counter spell. Look at his face. I was gonna say, even though you've now seen 2 Kozileks and an Ulamog, and I think there's another one in here somewhere. Okay, maybe I didn't put it. Oh no, I did. It's the very top, the mirror. Yeah, I put this in. I put this in specifically. I don't think I'd ever tutor for it. I put this in because I think it'd be really funny to have the mirror box out, and then like actually have 2 Ulamogs out, and one of them gets +1/+1 for the other one existing. I think that'd just be really funny. Have fun, Tombot. Get on that grind. It's the diabolic tuto. Alexis Silver, I haven't built an MTG deck in like 12 years. I remember being happy I had exactly enough unique forests for my Omnath deck. That kind of happened to me at some point when I was using... I had just grabbed like some lands, and then I got my fixation. And I was like, I I better have enough lands that are all from this same set. And I had precisely enough, and I had like exactly one really happy neuron fire off. Anyway, that's my Eldrazi deck. I'm one of those people. What I'll say for the Magic players in the room, right, is I'm not doing an Eldrazi deck where I'm like, I'm going to ramp and then play Titans with Annihilator. With that one, I just want to duplicate the stack at least twice during the game, and then if I win, I win. If I lose, I duplicated the stack twice during the game, and that's pretty baller. Now, if I want to do Annihilator stuff, that's my other Eldrazi deck. This is Azlask, who, again, this is fair Magic, fair Eldrazi. Azlask just likes to make tokens. He likes to make the spawns and the scions. He likes cards that do that. And then every time anything colorless that's a creature dies, I get an experience counter. And then eventually, at some point in the game, I don't know, I pay Wooburg, I play one of each color, and then all the creatures I control happen to get +X, where X is equal to the number of experience counters I have. And then it just so happens that perhaps if I made a swarm of scions and spawns, they all get indestructible and Annihilator 1. And I mean, then, maybe I'm sneaking a little bit of Annihilator in there, yeah, as part of a win con. But this is just fair Magic. I'm just trying to make tokens, and like, and people are like, it's Eldrazi, and I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to make tokens. I'm just having a good time. I'm just, like, I'll even say, hey, just let me do my thing. And my thing is just I make some tokens. Also, I tracked down this token. It's pretty freaky, huh? Eldrazi Angels. Why would they even have those? Also, talk up these sleeves for a sec. I was happy with these. These are endgame sleeves. They're made by a Canadian company. I tried them on a whim with my Roshin deck, which is the one I'm really having fun with right now, where she just likes X-cost spells. These feel pretty darn good, and they shuffle pretty darn good. So I was happy to find like another like palette of colors of sleeves from a seemingly pretty solid company. Recently, folks who play Magic and other games had a whole thing with good old Ultimate Guard, and a lot of people want alternatives from Ultimate Guard. So I was happy to be able to offer a recommendation of my own. Mimicry. I've known an Eldrazi player who spent a bunch of money to almost constantly have the option to do search deck for card play for 10/10 Yeah, that's the thing. Those tutors in Azlask, those tutors in Ulalek, those tutors are just so I can find things so I can flash out things and duplicate the stack. I don't care if I'm going to find Eldrazi, tell you whatever. Let them sit in the library. Let them retire. They're in the deck because it'd be funny to have dupes of them out on the table, right? Like, that'd be pretty funny. I have the one in there where it's like when you cast when you cast this, take control of one player's board. And I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if I duplicate that so I take control of two players' boards? And if I had Edge of Eternities out, or whatever, the duplicate triggered abilities thing, then like maybe I'd just take everyone's boards. And then I attack everyone with their own boards. I don't know. It'd be pretty funny. It's a good time. Fair time. But yeah, this one I'm just trying to make little guys. I'm just making little guys. Did you buy any Unfinity? My LGS is giving out Unfinity packs for winning Commander pods, using stickers to decorate my Commanders. I never bought any Unfinity. Most of the places I play don't do prizes for Commander. They just give out promo cards, and then like last night, they said we have like a promo pack. We just roll off for it. And then the guy who won the roll just gave me one of the 3 cards in there anyway, and I was like, all right. But most of the places in town here don't do prize Commander. They just, at best, they're like, it's $5 entry and you get a pack when you enter, and it's usually a pack of Thunder Junction because nobody wants it. That was last year. Now I guess it would be packs of Aether Drift. That's why I have any Thunder Junction cards. Yeah, you got your name of the deck monument. You got your pain lands. Got your game changers. Oh yeah, this guy took me a million years to find. Because there's 2 legendaries that I got who do stuff with experience counters. Because I am a believer in commander decks that can function without the commander out. Having like been in the position of like my commander's not out, my deck doesn't work. I'm like, what if I just make it so my decks can do something without the commander? So this is one of those characters where it's like, I can still do stuff with experience counters if I, get this card out, for instance. In general, I can still just get lots of funny little guys out. But it also helps the commander is like a 3 cost, so if you kill him like 4 times, then my life gets harder. But is the new set fun? Edge of Eternities. I didn't have the money to do the pre-releases at the time because they went up in cost, but I have heard it was really fun as a limited set. The art style is way very much my thing, and there are a bunch of cards from it I want to play around with. I really want to get the commander decks. They look fun. I've heard good things. They're just expensive, and I have lots of commander decks, so I kind of, when faced with the 2 commander decks, I found a place that had them closer to MSRP, but even then I was like, I'm not hurting for new decks, and I still get a lot out of spending $10 on a little stack of cards for like 2 to 4 of my existing decks and tweaking them. So I'm like, they're not gonna like stop printing them. So someday I'll pick them up probably because they look fun, but I'm just not in a rush right now. This little freak took me a while to find too. I don't know why. Good card names, by the way. Yeah, I'm kind of 2 minds on Station. The mechanic, I don't really hate it, but it feels very, I don't know how to put it other than arbitrary. Like, there's something about Station comes off like, and I don't mean this as a derogatory necessarily, but it feels like a very fan-made implementation of a new mechanic, because it's like, tap for power and put that many tokens on it, and then we'll make the number high, so you're building a gauge, and it's like, I get it. Like, I think it's neat to build a gauge on a thing, and it clicks over, and then it can go. But there's something like, kind of like, I don't know, just kind of awkward about it to me. Yeah, the new things for Edge of Eternity, it's stations, which are usually attached to planet lands or spaceships. Spaceships are not vehicles, but they are kind of like vehicles, but they aren't. That's also a thing that I think comes off a little bit clunky. And then with that set, they said that any legendary vehicle or spaceship that has a power toughness can now be your commander, which I do think is a good change, because it's mostly goofy. I want to make a Parhelion 2 deck, because I have one. That's the giant flying anvil fortress full of angels, and I'm like, that's pretty metal. And the other big mechanic is Warp, which is a small cost. You play a card for the Warp cost. At the end of the turn, it exiles, and then you can play it from exile at any point. So it's like, it goes to exile, but I would say you want to make like a fun little tray that's called like the Warp Zone, and that's where the Warp cards exile to. So Warp I really like, because it plays with lots of mechanics that I already enjoy. I am assuming that it is more or less balanced. But Warp is the really exciting thing to me. Like, I've already got, I gotta go pick them up now. There were a couple singles, like there's, it's like a 35-cent single. It's a 9-mana artifact creature with just a giant stat line, but it also has Warp 3. So you can, like, for 1 turn, warp in this giant creature. And for Megatron, that's excellent, because I can pay 3, warp him in, then Megatron as a tank can shoot him for 9 damage at something. And that's extremely in play with Megatron. Echoes of Eternity, that's what it was. I do have 2 of these. It wasn't that expensive. And the full art was not that expensive compared to the non-full art, and I was like, I'll get the full art twice. Now, why is this in this deck? Because there's colorless spells that have triggered abilities and stuff, so I'm like, wouldn't it be funny to make more funny little guys who can all get Annihilator 1 at one point? Yee-hee-hee-hee. Oh yeah, another new thing I did from trying to think more with my brain and having played more is making the choice of, do I want the Greaves or the Boots? And do I need either? And in this case, I would like the Greaves, because this little guy, when he's on the table, generally, I want him to just be left alone by everything, and I don't need to buff him, I don't need to do stuff to him, so, like, just give him Shroud and let him live his life, is my hope. This is the other experience legendary. This one was not as hard to find as the other guy. This one's funny because this is the press gang commander or whatever who would like spawn with 3 goblins to throw at people, and so this is one who is an Eldrazi goblin who spawns and throws them at people. I think it's a flavor win. I'm trying to figure out if I want this one to be in this deck or the other one, and I still don't know. Y'all got some Cauldron? Anyway, card games are a hobby. It's a hobby that you gotta, again, I think card games, one reason I've really found a way to enjoy them all over again in the past 2 years or so is applying the thought process to them again, which is like, I want it to be in service of me. So, do I chase the new sets and try to keep up with spoilers and try to maintain and upkeep my decks constantly? Always make sure I get all the new cards for every deck, because the answer is no, I do not. I just let it all chill out, and then if I ever get like a little itch of like, I want to buy a card, I'll just go and take a look. Are there any new cards that synergize with the decks I already have? And then if I wait 2 to 4 weeks after release, there's usually a bunch, and they're usually no longer kooky expensive, and I can be like, hey, let's trundle in there and get a couple more. It's like when Final Fantasy came out. It was as soon as I saw what the bundles actually cost, I was like, well, buying a bundle for fun is no longer affordable for me and my fun, so I'll just get singles. And then I got Red, White, Sephiroth, I got Go-Go, and I got like a bunch of, I just bought like 4 suplexes, because I was like, I'm sure I will make use of these. And so, like, with Magic the Gathering, especially if you are just playing casual Commander, right, and you, I think it's important that you also acknowledge that is almost a completely different game from 1v1 card gaming. There's no point keeping up with the new stuff with Casual Commander unless you just want to fire off some neurons and get some fresh cards. Adam Bill Moo, have you ever played cards? If called oven, then why ain't cold out hot eat the food? Do you see? I got my prize. I got my agility token that I wanted. So now I can generate an agility token, and at the start of my next turn, I can destroy this, then my next attack this turn gets go again. Cards are for nerds? You just don't understand. This is what the kids are playing nowadays. What are these? Pogs? I have some new about the people in chat, poggers. Good point. I hope to try Gundam. I'm Scorp. My internet rot of late that keeps me up when I can't do simple things like lie down is I just go hunting to all of the most obscure side of the internet, edge of the provinces, Quebecois, Alberta, BC. I go to every tiny card shop with a website that eventually shows up on a Google search, and I'm just like, do you got any starter decks? Do you got any starter decks? Do you have starter? And then finally you find one. All right, next question. Is your markup over 100%? And the answer is always yes. And it's like, damn it. Next time, skeleton. Apparently, Canada's getting a restock at the end of the month. But I do have a friend who has decks, and hopefully sometime in the next week or so, I can play it with a human and find out how I feel about it. I only care if they have pregnant char. No, listen, nobody's got pregnant char right now. That thing was an alt art in the beta that they did. Like, that thing is, like, they'll probably reprint it, but I was looking for Gundam cards and couldn't find any, so I said, "Gun darn it!" So true. Connor Clear, my draw to MTG is seeing my card brain friend cook up the funkiest flavored decks to destroy my group with, and also seeing how many weird little guys I can collect. I want to show you my weird little guys. Hang on a second. I'll be right back. Just had to detach the strap. What are these? Flesh and blood? Where's the bones? Anyway, this is the main quiver and the state of it. I've returned. So, the main quiver has been highly decorated now at this point. There's Ultra Primal down there. There's an Emperor Kumquat Sunder right there. That's the place I play once a month when I can. I knocked some stuff over. It was worth it, though. I was able to show everyone my little guys and my stuff. And then down here along the bottom, got Ultra Primal, got my Extra Life sticker on that. I put this one down here because it's kind of papery, and I was just curious, like, is this okay to be on the bottom and be on the table? And so far, yes, it's fine. So I might be able to use the rest of the bottom of this as more canvas. Here's some little animated guys I got. And then this was General Techno had drawn the first three TFCon Euro exclusives as Bishojos or whatever. I think the person that made that Thunderhoof had a Kickstarter recently. Did they? I have a picture somewhere that will tell me like who the artist was, but I like that Thunderhoof a lot. So now, my problem is I need to find smaller stickers, because I don't like overlapping them to the point where I'm covering art. So I need little ones. But at Artist Alley, everyone sells big ones. So help Vangelus out with some wee stickers. I'm sure people sell small ones, just I only ever see the big ones, because, like, you know, big shiny brain go burr, hooray. And then I put some on deck boxes, too. So, on my sound wave, because I like this pattern I made for the Bastion, so on the back we've got this excellent sticker I got at Toronto this year. And then up here, from the same artist, is an animated sound wave. And this is the baller part. Check this out. So if I'm playing, right? And I put my deck on the part of the Bastion that has like a little lip at the bottom, so you can easily use this as a draw deck holder. So there's my deck, right? The part that's facing my opponents, friggin' Soundwave. I think that's pretty cool. Can always buy a fresh new Ultimate Guard Boulder box, wink, nudge, nudge. But what if I wanted one that, say, had an IP brand that was connected to a horrifically unpleasant woman named Joker Kentucky Rowboat? I have a photograph with the business card of the artist who did these because I've got I think 4 or 5 stickers from her, and they were so cool. I put one more on another one of these. It's on my Megatron deck, which is another one that is probably just going to live in this because this to me is like, you know, Megatron colors. Again, for the draw deck side, when I'm using it as a draw deck holder, then you'd have this animated Megatron staring at you, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. I can't believe Ultimate Shart would sully my name like this. They came for you! Boulder, they came for you! Because, yeah, you know, I still got a couple kicking around. I'm trying to not put them on camera to the point where it's like, and look at this other useful hardware, because it's like, buy better deck boxes. But this is my new hotness, who's also in those endgame sleeves. But this is Roshin. And, like, she's so friggin'... I have done such funny stuff with her. This is my current, like... My current favorite make brain go burr kind of deck. Because she just wants to have... She wants you to have some mana on the table and then a handful of X-Cost cards. And so I got a bunch of ramps in here, and I got a bunch of Tyranids I bought single because they're all X-Cost creatures. And then I realized I had a bunch of X-Cost creatures, so I just recently got something. Oh, where is it? I also got a Hydra or 2 in here. I put a Chalice of the Void in here because I tried to build a modern deck in like 2018, and I had collected 4 of these, and I don't want to really play modern ever. So I was like, well, that's X cost. Wouldn't it be funny to pull that out during Commander? This is the new one I got, Unbound Flourishing. I traded some Lorcana cards and got this for half off. And so this one's like, whenever you cast permanent with the mana value of X, or it contains X, double the value of the X. And I'm like, okay. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, activate an ability, that spell's mana cost, or the ability's activation cost contains X, copy that spell or ability. Okay. Also got a Game Changer in here for the mana. But yeah, her whole thing is you can tap her, reveal any number of cards in your hand with X in the mana cost, and get 2 colorless for each you reveal. You can only use that to pay for spells that cost or contain an X for an X value. But that can be very funny. Because I have, oh, what was it? I got the Nexos in here. Oh, I have an old card in here that I put. Yeah, the Nexos. Basic lands gain tap to add 2 colorless only to spend on X. And I have an old card in here. I have a couple of cards in here. I put a Stream of Life in here from my childhood because I was like, I want to use it. But I put Mana Flare in here, I think, because I had one of those. Yeah, I had one of these from my childhood cards, which is an enchantment. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, it produces an additional mana of the same type. And so I'm like, what if we have a little bit of chaos as well? And I think... Yeah, I put Furnace of Wrath in. Which is if a source would deal damage to a creature or player, it deals double that damage. That includes the opponents to me. So I'm like, with this and Mana Flare, like, what if I just play both of these out and then tell the table, like, hey, leave me alone and y'all can play with fireworks for a while. This is I got this single. This is a Thunder Junction card, but this card's cool as hell. Hell to pay. You deal X damage to a creature, and then whatever damage is in excess, you get that many treasures. So I like the idea that you, like, X cost this up to, like, 15, and then, like, shoot a goblin in the face and get 14 treasures. Alan Weaver, you know what's funny about Chalice of the Void is you can still cast the card, but it never enters. True. 0 cost to Chalice of the Void. One of the first games I played with this deck, I made a like 15/15 Hydra and then used Ram Through to like have it kill a guy, and that was pretty fun. I was playing Magic the Gathering and I had my creature kill a guy. It felt pretty good, man. And just to finish the tour of what I've been carrying around, surprise favorite deck of amongst my decks. A lot of these are favorites, but like this one really, I wasn't expecting this one to be such a high performer for my brain. Oh, I also found that I could fit all my dice into one of these 80 card Gamegenic things, so I stuffed them all in here. I got to say when we were gonna roll off for a game, I was like, does anyone want to roll my incredibly large D20? So we rolled my incredibly large D20 that I got. And if they're like, that D20's too large, then I can be like, oh, I have a medium one. It's in the bottom here. I can be like, well, we can roll my slightly less large D20 if it's too big for you. But also, you could just, I don't know, try to have some freaking skill, you scrub. Big dice are fun, don't... Now, here's my RC deck, which doesn't need to be in a full-on Bastion, because she doesn't have that much stuff going on other than her cards, but, like, I guess I could get, like, a snap case for her or something. But RC friggin' rules. She's just a really... I would say if you at all want to play Transformers Magic cards, RC is a great one, because you cast her for more than meets the eye for 2, and then whenever you cast a spell that targets one or more creatures or vehicles that you control, put that many +1 counters on her and flip her. And so each doesn't target, but this deck, I tracked down as many red and white spells as I could that said target, you know, up to 2 or even up to 3. And then when she's a robot, she's got first strike, and then you can spend 1 at instant speed, remove any number of +1 counters off of her, and do that much damage to a creature. Kind of like a micro-sized sub-walking ballista, and then that flips her back. But there are really fun ways to game her, to go like, alright, you know, we're gonna do some stuff, she gets counters, she flips. I take a counter off, flip her back. Cast a spell to put 3 counters on her, flip. Take her off. Cast a spell to put 2 counters on, flip. Take 1 off. Put 2 counters on, flip. And just like start building them up while pinging creatures off the board. And also, there's a Pride event that they do in a bunch of the Toronto stores, which is Commander Night, but, well, usually Commander Afternoon. But all legendary creatures have partner. So what I do is, because when I went to the first one of those, I just went looking through my decks for like, well, who's the partner? RC absolutely has a wife. I gotta go find her. But it's like, it's so perfect that I'm like, can we do this? I mean, there's so many ways to break it, but like, this is so perfect. I gotta go find Owl Wife. Also, by the way, I need some company to do good pink sleeves, because, like, Dragon Shield are the only company whose pink is this kind of reddish pink. Everyone else's is like a bluer pink or a pale pink. And it's a bummer, because those are the wrong pinks. Also, RC gets suplex, because I figure it's, you know, in character. Here she is, Mavinda. So... because I got a deck full of, like, instants and sorceries that target my own things to buff RC, right? Mavinda is I can cast once and then exile them, instants and sorceries, from my own graveyard, and they cost 8 extra if they target things I don't control, but they don't do that. They target my things. So you have Owl Wife out, and then RC is like, I cast this thing, I get +1, I get bigger, and Mavinda's like, yes, honey, you do. And you know what? Happy birthday, you get to cast them all again. And then, like, their marriage ring is the Isochron Scepter I have in here somewhere. Now make them kiss. Doable. Anyway, RC, very good deck. And it's, I don't think, very expensive. You're just getting stuff, you can get a bunch of the Arcbound modular stuff. You're getting mostly white spells and some red spells that are like target number, you know, creature. And you can get some, I have some stuff in here. I got Lae'zel in here for the +1 counter interplay. But if you want my list, by the way, just hit me up somewhere. I can send you my Archidect link. if you want something to work off of. But RC, super fun deck, in my opinion. I have been told, like, she's basically just doing Boros stuff, but I don't really know what that means. So I just think, like, oh, you mean RC stuff. All right, I get it. And then you know, it's also very fun when people are like, oh, RC from Transformers, they had a girl, and then, you know, especially if we're at a Pride event for Magic, it's fun going like, oh yes, and also canonically, trans woman robot who also had the first romantic on-screen kiss between two Transformers in a comic book. Weird to say on screen, but very Pride relevant, this character, because Magic the Gathering RC is Sword Lesbian RC, so it's all very topical. Oh yeah, yeah, just if I don't remember, send me a DM on the Bisky, and I can send you the link. So my next goal, because so with the stupid Ultimate Guard stuff, I'm like, well, you know, I bought a bunch of boulders in 2018, so these will be landfill if I throw them out. So I'm just using them, you know, for now. I would like to replace them because also they're getting ratty AF, like with that, as boulders tend to. And boulders serve one function still, which is they're excellent at compressing air out of double sleeve cards. But I'm planning to try out some of the Quiver Time Nexus deck blocks, because I've heard they're basically better boulders. And they can also Lego brick together, which is funny. But for these dry erase cards, because Infinite Token is a small creator in the States, shipping on Infinite Token to Canada is like $30, so I have a bunch of these stinky Ultimate Guard ones. But I just found a set of dry erase cards on Amazon that are not by them that I put on my wish list. Because, like, yeah, you know, I'm annoyed with them, but I'm having a certain selfish realism of, like, the Ultimate Guard sleeves I have are katanas that have no logos on them. They're just colored rectangles. So I'm like, I'm just gonna leave them alone for now. I'm not gonna buy new ones, but, like, I'm like, no one's gonna look at my blue sleeves and go like, who made those? You know, and if someone asks me, like, they're just some cheap sleeves I got from a weird stinky dealer in a convention. Dry erase cards are huge brain. Yeah. Oh, actually, I gotta check something. One last thing, and then I'll wrap up. Because I got these dry erase markers primarily for print and plays. There's a lot of roll and write games you can purchase just as PDFs, and I would print them out on and then laminate them so I could replay them using dry erase markers. So I got this box of these that have like a built-in eraser, but you see the shape, right? You see the shape. You see the dimensions of one of these things, right? And I try to stick them in like this, and then the sticky outy part. So I was able to stick it kind of in the margin here without damaging or, you know, threatening the seam of the quiver too much. I just saw these at Dollarama, and they look little, and I want to see if they fit. Oh, thank you very much, Kat. I appreciate that. I got the. I'm gonna make sure I get that stamped on my passport, and. For me, it's mostly for, like, I mean, I'm in this position too, but, like, if people were faced with, like, I can't afford to purchase a new 800 sleeves, I'm like, your own values, you know, as they are, and however you feel personally about having those objects, like, the sleeves are the least important part. They are just rectangles. Like, the boulders still have logos and stuff, and I saw lots of people saying, like, just put a bunch of stickers over the logos, and I'm like, no, yeah. Adam Billmute, can you write... we gotta make sure I do it on the correct side. What was that request? Piss. Squatted. Is that Adam Billamu? Is that what you were asking for? If you want some Gundam cards without paying crazy shipping, meet me in the middle of Lake Superior for the handoff. It's going on my rowboat at 2 in the morning. 8 out of 10. I mean, listen, I'm just a hobbyist, you know. I'm just here for a good time. I'm here for a good time. You know, I'm just here. I'm just trying to have a good time. You know. But yeah, if you're in the States and you play card games where you could use tokens that are reusable, say you don't want to, or they don't make a token for a thing that you have in a card game, or even let me show you the secret hack here. Anyway, what I'm saying is go buy Infinite tokens. They're made by a cool person. But when you're playing and people are like, I don't know how to keep track of the commander damage that I'm taking. I'm like, here, take one of these. There's your commander damage tracker. You've taken 2 from this person. All right, you're sitting here. You've taken 5 from this person. You took 1 from this person. There's your commander damage tracking. That's actually one of my favorite things to do with these. Or if, say, you've got someone who's, like, weird about how they use dice to keep track of, say, +1/+1s that are not counters. You can go like, okay, listen, I know that when you played Magic, when you were a teenager, you used the dice to keep track of the combination of the +1 counters and the Lord effects you have going on, but that's confusing for the other players. So what if you just go +10, +10, right? And then just put that under the card. Like, write more clearly than I just did. Remember to at least occasionally wipe those clean with a wet cloth, otherwise the dry erase marker particles will build up. I know I should, but I kind of like the patina that builds up. Because some of these are getting real scuff-ass ugly, but I kind of like it. And yeah, like, the Ultimate Guard absolutely ripped off Infinite Token. And for me, the main gain was, like, I can buy these in Canada. But Infinite Token, I believe, does this too, where they have, like, little spots. So if you do want to really get your doodling on, and you're like, I made a Thrall, then you can go, like, Thrall. Black. Draw a little Thrall. Right? And then it's a 1/1. So at least it's formatted correctly. Or if it's like a copy of a card, and you copied a Thrall, who is, a black card, right? Who is a black card, but it has a mana value that it copied as well. You can also go up here and go, like, 2. Dry erase patina. New phrases being created. Well, maybe they're phrases we always should have had in the first place. So the only thing I'm losing is I don't have this nice handy-dandy eraser on the back of the marker, but I can just wipe these off on my shirt. But I want to know... Oh my god, finally. Okay, alright, finally. I got dry erase pens that fit in the goddamn card dimension. Oh my god. Do you know how long it took me to find dry... I had to go to goddamn Dollarama to find dry erase markers that are the dimension of a playing card. Because they're always enormous, or they're long, or they have this giant mushroom cap at the top with a magnet on the back. Maybe this is just a Canadian problem or something. Can I just stick it up there? Oh, it might even close. I'm going to put it in here to be safe. The best part? I even have other colors. I'm a goddamn rainbow wizard. Someone goes like, I cannot detect the absence of color applied as an ink, aka the color black. I simply cannot detect it with my vision. I can be like, well, Grimalkin, What about the color green, blue, orange, red, or pink? One of them resonates with your rods and cones. It has to. You can't deceive me. Not when I've been on this earth for so long. And I have small dry erase markers in 6 colors. Anyway. Usually I have a strap attached to this thing. And if you saw me at TFCon Toronto at the right moment, I actually had this thing strapped across my chest because I was carrying a bunch of stuff. And so walking through a nice hotel with this thing just strapped to my front as I go, it was pretty cool. Yeah, Adam Bill Moo can attest. I came marching into the TCG room like, I'm armed for war. Yeah, Kamen Rider Zets, friggin', everyone's like, did they generate those backdrops in that promo? Whereas I'm sitting there going like, he stole my... But you know, they're all like, well, are you a Kamen Rider? And it's like, wow. I didn't know we uphold systems of privilege in this household, but I guess we do. I guess we do. Anyway. Oh, wait. That's in the way of my mouse. Oh, no! That code is Vanjubilee if you're purchasing some toy hacks this month in August 2025. If you use this code, then you are feeding the machine. It's just the agreement. If you're not buying any toy hacks and you use this code, it will not alter your reality because you aren't buying anything. So, like, you know, if you have no intention to purchase any toy hacks, then this is kind of moot. I'm not going to tell you, like, you know, you're a fool and you should, because whatever, it's your choice. But if you already are anyway, then use the thing. The call to action. Remember to leave 5 stars on this video. 5 stars is pretty helpful to a YouTuber like me. Make sure to link some video responses to this video. That kind of engagement will help out a YouTuber like myself. You should add some annotations to this video as well. Happy Bionicle Day. Why do I look like I have a hole in the middle of my head? That's just the way the light's playing? Okay. Oh, no, he made me be like Logan Paul. I have to line up some tracks here. By the way, have a good weekend, because you're in the middle of one. I don't want to surprise you. Surprise lobotomy! Oh, hell yeah! We're under 4 hours. We're back. I didn't get to stream this on the weekday this week. I couldn't fit it in. I've been having some of the mentals. And I was thinking about that today and how, like, I should stream today to combat it. And I think I have been. What I've been doing instead is I've been making French toast constantly. It's like my new thing. It's kind of what I'm known for. But I've just been making lots of French toast. I'll do 1 egg, 2 splashes of milk, and 3 drops of vanilla extract for 3 slices of the brioche bread. And it's real good. And drizzle on like maybe a teaspoon of maple syrup. Let it all soak in a little bit. Just enjoy that while I watch some streamer clips. like a denizen of the year 2025. I kind of took to heart a comment I saw somewhere which is like, consider if the... How do you put this? As someone who likes to feel like I have interest in cinema, right? As part of not just my vocation, but my general interests as well. I was kind of like, I watch streamer clips more than I watch actual constructed media. I think the ratio is off. And then I fixed that by watching K-pop Demon Hunters and Asterix and Obelix. And then I was like... So I combated that by watching made-for-Netflix children's cartoons. And then I thought, like, I felt better when I watched... It took me 3 sessions, but I watched 1922 Nosferatu, and I felt pretty cool afterwards. Not to say there's anything wrong with watching children's cartoons, but I was kind of sitting there going, like, my balances are all funky. And to that effect, I would say, once again, I highly recommend... check out the film Perfect Days. It's a really good movie. And I think it's just available on streaming or whatever. I think it's still the latest Vim Vendors joint. Yeah, it's from 2023. It is currently on... What is this? Crave. Okay, so for Canadians, Crave. I guess that means HBO in America. Anyway, I do highly recommend Perfect Days because it is very far away from franchise media and from action media, and as non-derogatory, it is far away from children's media, but also it's very thoughtful, and it's like, I don't know, it really stuck with me, and it's the kind of film that, like, I feel is such a beautiful palate cleanser for the mind. And I don't know. I just want more people to see it. Like, I've been thinking about Perfect Days a lot again. Really want people to watch Perfect Days. Like, Everything Ever All at Once is one of my favorites, but, like, it is so maximalist. Like, I don't know if it's a brain cleanse, because it's more like, damn, I'm pretty worn out. I'm gonna chug this coffee. It's like a really good coffee, but, like... I still need to see Sinners, and I've heard Weapons is really solid, and that I should hear nothing else about it. I still got to see Superman and Fantastic Four, and I would like to see both. I may wait until streaming for Fantastic Four, but Superman I kind of want to see in one of the theater down the street. But yeah, Kat, you were not here for when I mentioned it. Yeah, I saw K-pop Demon Hunters, and I binged over 2 sessions, and with K-pop Demon Hunters in the middle, the new King of the Hill as like an emotional cleanse, and it did the trick. K-pop Demon Hunters was, as the kids say, my kind of shit, y'all. It definitely had my vibe. Interesting that, like, I didn't know it was Sony until the logo popped up at the front, and I was like, dang. New King of the Hill, I liked it a lot. I think, my mom is the one who put it this way back, but I always agreed with her. My word for King of the Hill is cute. It's like the most, how do you put this? From Mike Judge, it's always a shockingly warm and cute show. And I think the new season is, once again, warm and cute. And I was pleasantly surprised with the decisions made for writing the fictional perfect conservative Hank Hill in the mid 2020s, and it was often in ways that I really enjoyed. Like, the way he will get taken by something where, like, if you've been terminally online like myself, you'd be like, no, Hank, you're being taken, you're being tricked, and then by the end of it, it's kind of like Hank gets it in his own way that is not my way, but, like, it's, I don't know, it's like the way that he is written, you almost expect, like, this isn't meant to be an insult, but it's like, the way Hank Hill is written makes me disappointed that Mike Judge is not like that. If that makes sense. But But it's a very cute show. The only major bummers for me is obviously the actor who portrayed Dale perished during production of the show, and they got someone to fill in the role, but did not want to redo anything that the original actor recorded. And unfortunately, you can kind of hear the two of them separately. And the bummer is that they both are doing good performances, but the original actor sounds like an aged Dale. Like it makes you go like, is that Dale? Oh, right, Dale is older now. He's like, in fiction, 9 years older. Okay. Whereas the fill-in, who I assume is going to be portraying Dale hereforth, sounds more like young Dale, but meant to be older. It's like a very subtle difference. And it only really sticks out in the handful of episodes where both actors' performances are being used, sometimes in direct proximity of each other. And so it's a little bit weird, and the thing is, I understand why you would do that, and I empathize with it. And so that's part of the bummer of the season, is that it's that, and there are 2 in memorial cards across the 10 episodes, because by the end of the final episode, the actor who portrayed John Redcorn was murdered in a hate crime, and it's a bummer that is not really the show's fault, but it is there and lingering. On a technical level, the only thing that kind of bugged me is that they're using some kind of animation technology where everyone's teeth look weird to me. I keep staring, especially Peggy's teeth. I keep staring at the teeth lines because it's really weird. I don't know how to describe it, other than everyone has the same corner on their teeth, and Peggy's teeth look like they don't quite fit inside her mouth, is the best way I can put it. It's not enough to take me out of the show, but on a technical level, it did kind of every now and then when there's a prolonged dialogue happening, I kind of hone in on the teeth a bit, and I'm like, okay, never mind. But yeah, I found New King of the Hill to be quite cute. I guess the only other thing is that the amount of interest I had in a number of the characters meant that 10 episodes felt a little bit cramped. And then my first reaction was, I kind of wish I was spending more time with 21-year-old Bobby, Joseph, and Connie. But then 2 seconds later, I was like, I really liked seeing 9 years older Hank as well. So I can't decide. I think I just want 5 more episodes. But yeah, I will say, I don't have the service it's on. I found a way. But I'm going to stick that show on a stick and show it to my mom next time I see her in a month or so. Because I think she'll find it kind of cute, too. But yeah, I wasn't even sailing the high seas. I just strolled into my old second home. A place full of motion, day to day, 7 days a week. Yeah. It's I mean, to me that seems like a King of the Hill thing. Is there's not really a major event season finale, but also the 10 episodes just felt very much like you gave me a bunch of cool stuff, and it feels like if I checked the card backs, it would tell me that there's more you didn't give me. But I also, 5 minutes later, I was like, this is also animation in the 2020s. I should just be grateful for 10 episodes that were pretty much fun to watch. But my understanding is they're doing at least another 2 sets of 10. So that should be cool. I guess the only other thing is there was a narrative beat with a character called Willow, where it felt like I got beat 1 and beat 2, and then it felt like beat 3 of 3 specifically happened off screen between 2 episodes, and I was kind of I was I don't hate this, but again, I feel like there's an episode that I simply was not shown, but also it doesn't exist. It's odd. 10 is also just an odd number to me. I don't know. Because I always still think in 12s and 13s, right? So I'm when I saw that it ends on 10, I was like, really? I don't know why. I'm just so used to it being like, well, usually it's like, it's either like, 4 or 8 or something like that, 4 to 8, or it's at 12. Okay, King of the Hill usually does better with its season finales. Okay, I don't really... I've always been an in-syndication King of the Hill watcher. I never really, like, know the season strokes that well. Like, first core, right? I forgot about the core thing. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people actually make a pretty good argument that, like... what was it? Like, it's a time skip season. It's like it's King of the Hill Shippuden or whatever. I dropped something. I picked it up. The episode counts for modern shows bug me. It's weird because they're like a mixture of the two negative parts of the old style, where it's like, well, you're only going to get this many episodes, and then the streaming scenario environment where it's like, we have the freedom to do whatever we want. It's like when Toys That Made Us was coming out, and I just felt the episodes were too truncated and they had too much like faff I didn't care about. And then I would see that they cut stuff that was really interesting, and I would just sit there like, because this is like almost a decade ago, but I was like, why are you cutting interesting stuff from a show made for Netflix, who do not necessarily have to care about runtimes? Why are we, like, cutting out the Wonder Bread He-Man segment, for instance? And I just didn't really... I was like, this feels like the worst of two worlds for no reason. It's right side swipe prime. King of the Hill Shippuden. It's... well, he already has a name. It's Bobby. It's the son of Hank... It's Hank Hill no Musco! But yeah, I generally was having fun with it. Same thing with, different flavor, but same thing with K-pop Demon Hunters. Knowing that they want to spiral it out into a wide-spanning franchise, I think that's fine. Like, the film is absolutely made to be turned into a 2-sequel and miniseries and coloring book, etc. thing. It's even... I don't think they're going to do it right. But it is actually really well made for a transition to live action, because it's perfect for a tokusatsu, live action special effects martial arts thing. I am dubious that will be what is done with the purported live action intent among the news item that I saw. But if they get the right people involved, they could be doing Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon the second with that thing, and I think that would be a perfect fit. Who knows, though? I also am kind of like, let's see what happens, because, like, it is a kid's show. It's a pretty solid kids tweens thing that I enjoyed watching, and I'm like, yeah, the stakes are not super high on this. Like, yeah, like, if they just try to just do it shot for shot in live action, like Disney style, then I'll just be like, fart and snore. But, like, there are parts of it where I'm like, you get the right director on this, and, like, the right kind of, like ham up the costumes and tweak the narrative, throw in some henshin, and like, you could have, like, a tokusatsu version of it that I think would be pretty fun. The main question is, like, whether that is something I think alone, or if there is a version of me somewhere in the process. But no, I am sure that, like, because I think what they said, they're doing 2 more films. I am sure the plan is, like, to do the Disney thing, do a miniseries. Ideally, this is a way for Sony Animation to establish some more foothold and some more bargaining power for themselves, off the back of all the stuff that the animators had gone through on Spider-Verse 2. So there's versions of this that I think could go quite well. What do we shred today? We shredded N Shark. And then some flesh and blood cards. Ugh. But yeah, I was trying to think of a way to put it that isn't, like, demeaning, because I certainly don't mean to be demeaning, but it's like, with something like K-pop Demon Hunters expanding out, right, I'm like, I thought it was fun, and I have, like, a certain cap on, like, how invested emotionally I want to be in how, as a meta property, it's treated. I just mostly want animators to be treated well and for it to be good opportunities for them, because, like, that field is such a harsh place to exist as an artist right now. I think it also helps that, like, they had some of that late aughts, like, vaguely tinge of industrial underbeating on some of the songs in the film, which is, like, my kind of thing. And one of the singers had, like, a deeper voice, and, like, you put those things together, and it's like, you're touching on the dark wave adjacent pop that works for me. But yeah, I mostly hope it turns into good opportunities. And ideally, I hope it's like the kind of, I looked at the credits mostly to see if it's like, was this created by a board of directors or something, and it didn't seem to be. So I'm hoping that this is also someone getting to tell a good story with backup, and that it's something that is going to make some empowering and solid base memories for some kids out there. Because, like, the thrush of the story is very Sledgehammer simple, but, like, it was a very, like, interesting tweak on the whole, like, how do you put it? Among other things, the notion of I'm closeting you because I love you as a parent kind of thing. And it was neat to see, like, a version of that story being told in a very, like, fairly straightforward way by the end. I was made aware there is, like, a kind of, like, I would call it a Steven Universe fandom tangent discourse around, like, the quote, paraphrasing, the demons are supposed to be the idol industry and the executives who run it, and it's like, I get it, but also I feel like maybe the context of this thing is not the one where that battle is one to be waged necessarily. It's kind of, the parallel to the whole thing of, like, what was it, Steven Universe is teaching our kids to try to win over world annihilating fascists with love or something, and I always kind of felt, I never got into that discourse because I always kind of felt like I feel like we are inventing a little bit of stakes here that maybe are not part of the actual medias in question, the very demonstrably loudly children's oriented media, and, like, that's not meant to be derogatory on children's media. It's meant to be, like, my word is context. I'm trying to figure out how to fit this together. Like, the context is very important to me, and I don't mind, like, extrapolating context, but, like, obviously the worst eras of the bad Steven Universe discourse, which apparently was the result of YouTube videos made by some scumbag, it turned out. I didn't catch the whole story, but that kind of stuff, like, got to such escalation where I was like, I think we are now, like, perhaps a lot of energy is being expended well outside of the contextual intent of the media in question, and and, like, I gotta go watch the time skip season at some point, because I watched the whole thing over time and I dug it. I just never wanted to talk about it with anybody on the internet because I was like, there's a lot of very high emotion. White Diamond switches from faceless fascist dictator to a parent of the queer hero, so the metaphor had to transition accordingly. Yes, watch. I will! I'm gonna. The amount of time between the movie finale and then Future was just long enough for me to, like, lose track of everything. And then when I thought, like, I never watched Future, I was like, it's been a couple of years. Oh! So at some point I'm gonna go hit it up because yeah, it's a show I liked. Like my joke for ages was I would go like, I'm not watching the Tumblr cartoon, but it was mostly because like I thought it was like, this is a perfectly fine show. It's an interesting show to look at academically at how it simultaneously tries to age a little bit with its audience, but in doing so, it's also like removing its inhibitor vest as far as like the people working on it being big ass anime nerds, in a way that's really funny to me. Like, not derogatory funny, just like it's very cute. It's like early on, like the hints are there, but it's done in this very almost like Adventure Time sort of like, or I guess early Adventure Time, like how do you put it? Abstractness, where it's like, you know, there's an arm floating in the air that, oh yeah, a giant hand like landed on the beach. That just happens sometimes. And then it's like, all right, now that we're like into season 3, we're going to tell you the exact canon of the giant body parts, because this is important. And you can just see the friggin' like the vest coming off, and it's like, this is part of the giant mecha anime subplot text that I had in my brain. I just thought it was very, very cute. Yeah, the friggin' the Peridot arc also being the inhibitor vest coming off. It's like, have you considered the arc of Dragon Ball Z's Vegeta? Interestingly, because I saw Omander mention, I actually have never watched all of Dragon. Like, I know what happens in a bunch of Dragon Ball, but like, I've only ever watched like mostly pre-Zed in syndication on YTV dubbed as a kid. I've never sat down to watch it properly, and then as time has gone on, I've kind of been like, I mean, I might sometime, but like, I just don't really feel the draw. Nothing against Dragon Ball, I kind of missed it. The same thing happened with My Hero Academia, and then the same thing happened with One Piece. So I watched live action One Piece, which is basically like, they polished up the cartoon into something that, my mature adult brain could process. I mean, if I ever watch Dragon Ball, I would do so in the way that is like, All Systems Goku, that podcast, like the way it was told to people of like, here is the way to watch it, where you just see all the good bits. I'd just be like, someone curate me a USB stick, please. But I just feel like I don't really right now. It's the same thing with Universal Century Gundam. Like, I've never watched any of it. I know a lot of the beats, and I don't think it sucks or anything. It's just like, sometime I might watch it. I just don't really feel the draw right now for myself. Whereas like Steven Universe, when it was coming out and was in the midst of being, shown and made, A, I found a site to watch it on, but then B, it was perfect timing, because I was like, I want to watch something, and I was watching that show, and I was like, oh, this is like slotting in perfectly to my needs. Which I think is sort of the story of many, medias people get attached to, is like, often there is some element of like, it is slotting in, like, at a time when you kind of need it. For whatever, be it a deep reason or just simply like, I want to watch something. Yeah, I've only ever seen Steven Universe on the internet. I've never seen it on a television. Universal Century Gundam also, I think it's funnier the longer I don't watch it, but keep just trying to like refer to plot points. It was like, don't tell anyone this, keep it secret. If Michael Bay really does make another Transformers movie, my plan is I'm going to skip it in theaters and just watch bootleg phone cam clips, and then still try to do a review vlog and just like basically try to BS my way through it really confidently, and then see how much I get away with it. Therefore, so I expect all of you to goddamn kayfabe and support the scene. And yes and. Not no but. Yes and. That's exactly how I watched last night the first time. Yeah, like, there's parts of Power Rangers, like, I'm happy I watched RPM, because also I watched it the year it aired, and it was really fun and neat and interesting and new. And, like, I would still say RPM is fun to watch, but, like, at this point, if you are remotely aware that that is even a show that might be in your interest level to watch, you've already heard so much about it that, like, you kind of need to actively try to replace all those memories, but just make a note, like, once I don't remember anything about RPM, maybe I'll give it a watch. And it's not like it's amazing, it's just like, in the year 2009, the fact that Power Rangers RPM and Kamen Rider Dragon Knight were new and on the air and something you could just watch week to week was so very fresh. And, like, I don't know how that ages, but I think there's still academic value to take out of watching them. It's just like, you are never going to go in and actually be, like, wowed by the moments if you're going in already knowing that that is a show with moments, because that means someone said them to you, basically. Look, it's how I talked about Eva 3 for a while. I mean, that was my joke with Evangelion for a while, is I only saw End of Evangelion pirated when I was, like, you know, in 2004 as a bit. But it meant when I actually watched Evangelion when it came out on Netflix, I actually really liked it, because, like, I went in with an expectation and knowledge of what it was and what its outcome was for its creator, and what the state of that creator was during and then after making it, and I was like, I actually really enjoyed it, like, partly as an exploration of someone very emotionally overwhelmed, going through something, and trying to cope with it in a somewhat misguided way through this television show they were working on. And it ended up, like, that I really actually liked the TV ending a lot. Yeah, RPM is the one where it's like, it uses Go-Onger props, but it otherwise completely drops Go-Onger and is just an original show. So I would actually say, if you did not know that part, maybe it is worth, like, you know, grabbing a torrent or something sometime, just as like a side thing. Because it's quite funny how much it isn't Go-Onger. Almost in a, like, try-hard way, but in a very endearing way. And they also they ended up fortunate with some cast members that, like, had some decent acting chops, you know, for children's television, but two of them went on to, like, you know, continue to be on television, I guess. Like, I wouldn't say, like, you know, watch RPM to start watching more, but, like, RPM is just kind of a fun, eager, endearingly eager series. I won't say any more than that, but I still think it is one of the most interesting experiments that they got to do with that whole experiment. History of Power. Okay, yeah, history. I would, okay. If you've seen a summation of it, it will lose some of its impact. I think RPM actually, like, summating RPM, I think, really diminishes, like, some of the fun of it. If only because it's so rare to find someone who would remotely be even, like, uninterested but aware of it as an existing show. Going into RPM dry is I think a really worthwhile experience. If only because they kept making these, like, comically opposite decisions about stuff to do, and they treaded very close to the line of saying, "Isn't this show stupid?" But they pull it back every single time just a bit, just enough to not make me grouchy, and instead make me go, like, "Yeah, it's pretty funny." But yeah, don't, like, look up RPM or anything. Don't, like, pre-watch anything. Just if you have any interest in it, I would say, and not to overrate it, I just think it is the most interesting season of Power Rangers ever made. At least the most interesting post Zordon whatever season. It's just, like, in a cycle where they were just, like, machine translating and then writing over Sentai scripts. To suddenly just drop all of it and go, like, well, this thing's almost done anyway. Do what you want. And then, like, okay. Also, they had some good action direction in that thing too, which made me happy. Same thing with Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. The Wang brothers final go at that stuff for a while. That show was also really fun to watch because you'd get a short number of episodes in, and then a character would get vented, ostensibly killed, and you'd be like, you weren't supposed to do that yet. What are you going to do now for the... And so you kind of get hooked in partly because you're like, you just broke your stock footage. So what do you... It's very funny. Vented, killed while blaster equals gun. So when you're vented, you are ostensibly killed. And to their credit, I think it was later in the show when it was like a reveal. It's like, yeah, vented means they're stuck in another dimension in a coma, and it's almost like, so he's not dead. And I kind of liked it because it didn't really, to me at least, it didn't diminish the drama of a couple of the ventings, and then it was instead like a way to play off of the main character's unawareness of what was going on. Yeah, Dragon Knight, like, I would, like, that's also, like, to me, like, RPM was fun after Go On, in part, because I was like, it's like, okay, so it's Mad Max, alright, I don't know how you're gonna, I don't know how the two straws touch, but, and yeah, Dragon Knight is also, like, such a bespokedly shot thing for a lot of the show, and I think it does say something that, like, the Ryuki cast did the Dragon Knight Japanese dub. Like, there's a lot to like. Again, it's not gonna move you to the point of, like, I can't believe this unsung gem was disrespected in its time or anything. Like, it's a pretty goofy show, but it is so eagerly, endearingly eager. It gives me good memories. And then, like, the perfect capper is the fact that, like, when the whole thing was, like, pirated up, all over the place, whoever was left to even comment on it who worked on it were just like, whatever, get it. I want people to see the thing, sure. Please. Like, no one else is selling it. Like, please do. Please do. I was gonna mute for a sec to do a little nosy blow. Spare you all the sight of that. Yeah, shout out Micronauts cartoon. That thing's gonna be everywhere. I know somebody who's already started an effort to upload it to YouTube. I have a copy of it. If anyone gets the torrent running again, I know multiple people have copies of it. It's seedable. That show ain't going anywhere. I still haven't watched any of it. I was just so preoccupied with, like, the maintenance of its existence. The finale of the show. You had to get even when the show was airing, the Wang brothers found out the show was canceled because people were asking them, how can I watch the last episode? And there was... So the original way you saw the final episode, if I recall correctly, there was a legal way to watch it, but it was going through a couple loopholes, and someone ripped that out. So it, like, was technically pirating, but it wasn't quite pirating. Yeah, my main thing with Micronauts was, like, I just wanted to rip the end credits and put that on Blue Sky, because I'll spare you all the emotional rant once again, but, like, I am so personally offended on many levels by the shuddering of completely finished and made, perfectly good projects that people worked hard on and are proud of. And so I wanted to just post the credits and go, like, I want everyone, please look at all the names of everyone who worked on this. Yes, look at the voice actor names. Those are some pretty choice voice actors. But look at the crew, look at the writers, look at all the animators who worked on this. All of these people had no proof they ever worked on this show until this thing got leaked. Oh yeah, the theme music is great too. But someone had already put the opening on YouTube. So privateering, you might say. Yeah. Now, it gave me good feelings when that thing showed up, because I was like, this is what I was hoping, is that, like, now that the threat is real of the deletion of media, like, that people who work on it are somehow, someone has a copy, and they're like, well, if you're not doing it, I will. And I like that they waited, like, 5 years, because that's precisely how I did it with the BotCon 2011 script reading. It's like, it might have been less than 5 years. I waited a number of years, because I was like, I'll give you, the owners of this, a perfectly fine, wide-open window to post it yourself, even though I know you can't, because you screwed up your audio recording. But that's not my problem. I'll just simply see if you managed to fix it, and they could not. So, took it upon myself. Still don't remember how to log into that SoundCloud account. SoundCloud, a site that contains music. And apparently AI scrapers now, which is a shame. But music, that's a word I know. Hey, thanks for watching that stream that just happened. It's technically still happening now, but we're in the final moments because the music is playing. Take it easy out there. You're in the middle of the weekend. Strictly. Do take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. If it's hot where you are, stay hydrated first and foremost. And if it is cold where you are, stop telling people who are somewhere where it is hot. That's mean. I'll catch you all later. I don't really have like a very solid plan of what is to come, because I'm like I said, I'm coming off of some of them mentals, and I'm kind of just cruise controlling it. I'm trying to finish the Diet Battles video, because I'm at the very complicated part after the first complicated parts, and it's very easy to look at it all and go like, King of the Hill. So I'm overcoming that. But yeah, I will catch you all later. Stay safe out there. The world's still pretty funny, ain't it? And I will see you all next video, next stream, next chitter chatter. Something. Back when I was a internet radio DJ, I would do a whole bit where I'm like, I'll see you while you sleep, because I'll be licking the window and staring inside.
Let them come.